still need to play. Los Angeles, Rams, Seattle. But the Packers, yes, entered the day with the 7th overall spot in the NFC. Now they've dropped to 11th.
In order to make the playoffs, they have to win their last 3 games.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
No more room for error. Have to win out.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's they suckered us into thinking they were good after those 2 wins, and now they have rooted back. But again, I would emphasize, we're all being tested. If you believed that the key to the season was the development of Jordan Love, it was another good game. I mean, if this season was about, do the Packers have their quarterback of the future? The answer, again, is yes. And I've stated this for a number of weeks, that it's already been decided by the man who counts, the general manager. But the game, I mean, Jordan Love had another pretty good game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But it doesn't matter. I would say that again, we're now.
Yeah, but Homer, we moved past that. Those 2 games, it's easy now to be like, oh, okay, let's go back. Let's go back to the expectations we had before they won those 2 games. But no, this is a disappointment. You cannot win those 2 games. You cannot win those 2 games and have the schedule that was in front of you, one of the easiest left in the NFL, and then throw these 2 games away. Now, could they still make the playoffs? Maybe, but they have to win all 3 games, and then at that point, more than likely also need to get help. They're probably going to have a couple of games fall their way with tiebreakers and whatnot.
You're right.
It's disappointing. So yes, it's nice that Jordan Love played, but I think we already had that answer. Okay, yeah, we know he's the guy of the future. The expectations after you beat the Lions and the Chiefs, they changed because you had the playoffs right in front of you. And then you come out and you lay eggs in back-to-back weeks.
No, I agree with you totally. So now it's about, do you want him to be bad so that Joe Barry gets fired? If you think that that LaFleur would fire him. But, they've proven they weren't what they showed us for a couple of weeks. I have a couple of I don't do game plans but it seems to me they were way better. Wasn't everything all day I saw Campbell and Walker chasing people, and I don't. So is that them? Is it what was set up? Is it fair to say that was there were how many plays on 3rd down where the person nobody was around him preventing a first down, and then again, everything seemed over the middle.
Oh yeah, Walker, it was clear. It was clear the game plan for the Buccaneers was just to attack the middle and attack Walker and Campbell.
Campbell didn't play well. Were the Packers better with the people they had filling in for them?
No, I think that they were going to attack the middle of the field. There must be something that the Packers do with their middle linebackers that they decided that they can take advantage of. Because even if you have Isaiah McDuffie in there, he's got no chance against Chris Godwin.
That's on Barry, not on the players.
Yeah, probably. There's probably something that the Packers do within their defense that the Buccaneers thought that they could take advantage of and did consistently.
The only chance was pressure. There was pressure on a few plays. You saw the pressure. You saw Baker Mayfield, make some bad passes. There wasn't with no pressure. I said and tweeted, just if you know Joe Barry, blitz every play, because if you don't blitz and pressure Baker Mayfield, he's going to just destroy you, and he did.
800-990-3776. That is the number for the Boda Boxed Wine line, where we got to Jeff in Minnesota. Jeff, you're up first with Homer and Gabe on Green Bay Game Night.
Hey, guys. Very depressing performance by our defense. And it's not just the fact that the defense was gashed. They made no accommodations to change things. How many times did you see them just rushing for and not getting to Baker Mayfield? If they're having a problem covering the slot receiver with Campbell, then bring in an extra defensive back and do something. But the reality is, what do they say is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome. This is a perfect example of why Joe Barry is so bad. They did nothing that was different in the second half. Nothing. From the end of the first half to the end of the game, Tampa Bay had field goal, touchdown, end of game on downs. That was it. I mean, if this guy does not get canned over this, I don't even care if they go 9-8. You can't have a really competitive team with this guy running the defense. You can't. And I don't know how you could convince me that you could. I just think it's pathetic. Yes, the good news is Jordan Love played good again. He bounced back after last week's game. The touchdown he threw to Reed in the corner of the end zone.
That was best throw of the year.
I thought about
best throw of the year, Jeff.
Yeah, and
unbelievable.
And I thought
maybe
about
the best catch of the year too.
So good,
incredible wow by both players.
Like and that just gets you like excited and your heart racing for the offense going forward. Like, man, those two guys growing together over the next 4 or 5 years.
I thought that they talked about the arm that Jordan. They called it a missile, and I thought it was. There were a couple throws he threw today that were just faster than he's thrown before.
Yeah,
that was definitely
especially early.
No, he's got arm strength.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got arm strength, and obviously Wicks was an unbelievable draft pick in the fifth round.
Shouldn't you be happy? Are you happy?
I am.
You should be happy because the defense stinks. The only chance of getting rid of Joe Barry is for you. You should hope they give up 30 to Carolina. There's no other way to be. You don't want Joe Barry right. You don't think there's any chance that they can win. You have to hope. This is a hard thing for a fan. A lot of fans don't do it. You're not saying they want to lose. You want them to beat Carolina 42-39. You want them to beat because you want Joe Barry gone. If you don't believe you can win, I can't wait for Ben Brust this week. He's probably elated. But he didn't think he was good. But that's. I mean,
I don't think.
There's no argument, right? I mean, it's a weird thing to say, but if you think he's that bad. You want him gone, and in order for him to be gone, they have to embarrass like they did today.
Yeah, and so I guess when it comes to Joe Barry, and I know, Jeff was specifically talking about no changes in the second half. I don't know how, I guess I have been begging for Joe Barry to dare teams to pass it, and he did that today, and then they got gashed again. So I don't know how critical I can be because I'm like, hey, let's try something different. Let's actually stop the run. And they did a pretty good job against the run. They held the Buccaneers to under 3 yards per carry. Or excuse me, under 4 yards per carry, which is, what you're doing. That's good against the run, but then you allow Baker Mayfield to have a absolute perfect passer rating. And when it comes to Joe Barry, look, is he a good defensive coordinator? Of course he's not. But Mike Daniels pointed out on Twitter last week about how the Packers defenses have just looked the same pretty much since 2014. I would say from 2015 on, like for the last 8 seasons. I mean, it hasn't really mattered who the Packers defensive coordinator's been, has it?
There's truth to that. There's been truth to that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And look, again, I'm not saying this to defend Joe Barry. I'm putting it out there the same way that Mike Daniels put it out there last week.
He's basically saying the players aren't very good.
Well, yeah, but he's saying, but he was also saying like, hey, I played next to Hall of Famers. I played with some really good guys, and yet. All of our defenses have always been the same. Why is that? And the fact that the player who was on some of those defenses that we're talking about and was a pretty decent player at times on some of those defenses we're talking about, like the fact that he doesn't have an answer, I don't know what's going on with the Packers defenses. It's dumbfounding. It's frustrating.
The answer this year would be bare, but it also would be somewhat of injuries.
Yeah.
They had done so well even with those injuries. Yeah, he's right, but, fine. Come on, Mike, tell us what it is. Are the players not as good, or, what else could it be? Okay, you have different schemes with different guys.
Yep.
And none of them have been good. So regardless of, they've counted on the quarterbacks, fine, but the defensive coordinator doesn't count on the quarterbacks. He doesn't say, I can do a terrible job because we got great quarterbacks. Doesn't appear they've been very necessarily aggressive or they've tackled really well. Man, there were some – was it Rudy Ford just like, whoop, there he goes.
Well, and so that's some of it too. Like, right, the last touchdown, like, I don't think it was necessarily bad coverage. They had 2 guys right there. Baker just threw a good ball. Yeah. And then the safety tackled Campbell, and then another safety slipped, and that was it. Like, that's not on Joe Barry. Like Correct. The player, at the some time, and this was a point that Tauscher was making last week as well, of when you have 0 sacks against a team that gave up 69 going into the game, like that's not on Barry, that's on players. Right. So I think there's a combination of both going on right now with the Green Bay Packers. Again, I don't want to make it seem like I'm defending Joe Barry, but there's a lot more. I think in order to fix whatever's wrong with this defense, I think it starts with the firing of Joe Barry at the end of the season. But I think there are also other things that they need to figure out what the hell's going on.
Yeah. But but there's not going to be much disagreement with you on what's the first thing.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with that. 800
whether Matt LaFleur will do it. But,
yeah. Well, I'm not expecting it to happen. And somebody just tweeted this at me. Apparently, it's the first visiting quarterback ever with a perfect rating at Lambeau Field. So that just...
If something happens that speaks poorly of the Packer defense, the first thought is, I'll bet Joe Barry was the coordinator then. Because let's add to the list. Is this worse than 363 yards rushing by the Eagles against the Packers? Which is worse, Gabe? I think 363 yards rushing still trumps it.
Yeah, 363 is, that's just...
And I feel like I'm missing other games. I mean, I've said this about Joe Barry. With Dwayne Wade, I said, even when he's bad, he's good. And when he's good, he's really good. Joe Barry, even when he's good, he's bad. And when he's bad, he's really bad.
Yeah, it's...
And this, for Baker Mayfield to beat you, fine. For Tampa Bay to beat you, fine. For him to have a perfect quarterback rating, just like last week. Not just losing, but you have a guy who goes 4 for 4. You don't even face a third down as he goes for the winning field goal.
Yeah.
It's just...
800-990-3776. That is the Boda Box Wine line to get into the show. We'll get to your calls coming up next on Green Bay Game Night.
More Green Bay Game Night coming up on ESPN Wisconsin and WTMJ.
Hear that? It's the sound of a winning December at Potawatomi. Play with your club card December 7th, 14th, and 21st. The more you play, the bigger your share of $400,000 in reindeer rewards. And like a classic Midwest winter, the wins can really pile up. Dash to Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee for your reindeer rewards. $400,000 worth. Learn more at paysbig.com. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
For kids at the Salvation Army, a meal isn't just a meal. It's fuel for imagination, determination, and dreams. It's energy to be role models, change makers, and to just be kids. With your gift to the Salvation Army, a full meal is provided to a child, which leads to a full heart, a full night's sleep, and a future full of possibilities. Donate to the Salvation Army today, and you'll show local kids love beyond hunger at samilwaukee.org. That's samilwaukee.org.
Ready to conquer the Midwest's premier winter playground? Then start planning a visit to Granite Peak. With over 200 acres of skiable terrain, Granite Peak has something for everyone. From beginners to seasoned pros, park skiers to mogul fanatics, and everything in between. Soar to new heights on their state-of-the-art chairlifts and warm up in the cozy historic chalet with roaring fireplaces and stunning views. A legendary winter adventure begins at Granite Peak. Don't miss out. Visit skigranitepeak.com to book your winter vacation now and for more information. Granite Peak. Legendary winters, legendary fun.
Ever wonder how the best athletes find the power to jump higher, cut quicker, skate smoother, drive farther, and stick the landing? At Prevea Orthopedics in Green Bay, we know power starts with the hips. That's why Dr. Michael Ryan and our team of experts provide comprehensive and advanced expertise in hip care, unlike anywhere else. Come to Prevea Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, where we can preserve your hips so you can pursue your goals. Prevea Orthopedics, specializing in you.
Come to Kessler's this Christmas.
You'll get the lowest prices of a lifetime.
And a gift that will last forever.
Put a bigger diamond in her engagement ring.
Or give her a big pair of diamond stud earrings.
The kind that people notice from across the room.
Diamond stud earrings always fit perfectly, and they can be worn with anything.
But diamond earrings always look best when they are worn with a smile.
And with every purchase of at least $298, you'll get a marvelous leather travel case for your jewelry.
Just 4 inches square by 2 inches thick, wonderfully padded and full of perfect little compartments.
You're going to love it.
Kessler's is the largest employee-owned diamond company in the world.
Our stores have nearly 9,000 Google reviews.
And each store has a 4.9 star average.
Except for the 2 that have 5 stars.
You're going to be happy, happy, happy.
Find the Kessler's nearest you.
And see our extended holiday hours
at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Hi, this is John Neal, CPA, best-selling author, and founder of the Neal Group, with over 40 years of experience helping businesses make money and keep it. 2023 is almost over. How are you doing? Do you even know how you are doing? Do you have money in the bank? Are you getting the advice you need to minimize your taxes and put more money in your pocket? Do your calls get returned and questions answered? We help you look at your numbers and understand what they mean. How would you like an extra $10,000 or $100,000 in your pocket? We can help you now, before the end of the year. Using tried and true strategies, we have helped countless businesses increase their profits and lower stress. Our Neil deal guarantees you will increase your profit or you don't pay us. Really. If you want to get started on the road to making more money and having less stress, visit neilgroup.net right now. That's NEAL group.net. The first meeting is free to see if we can help. Again, neilgroup.net.
You're listening to Green Bay Game Night on ESPN Wisconsin and WTMJ.
Love, here comes the rush. Love has a lane to run. He throws, end zone, and it's caught. Touchdown, Jaden Reed. That was a missile by Love, and what a drive by the Packers.
Packers certainly had some good offensive moments today, but ultimately it did not matter as they gave up 381 yards passing to Baker Mayfield as he had a perfect passer rating. The Packers fall to the Buccaneers 34-20. Gabe and Homer with you for the Green Bay Game Night. Mark Tauscher going to be joining us at 4:15. So Tausch giving his thoughts on today's game. Coming up in about an hour. Until then, we'll take your calls on the Bodabox One line at 800-990-3776. That's where we find Mo in Illinois. Mo, you're up next on Green Bay Game Night.
I really can't even be upset after the game today for a few reasons. One, how on earth, as a fan, could I take this team serious when they teased us and beat the Lions and Chiefs, and then they show us their true colors back to the October Packers to lose to Tommy DeVito last week on Monday Night Football. And then Baker Mayfield has a perfect pass rating against us. I can't take this team serious so long as Joe Barry is our defensive coordinator. And at this point, it's on Matt LaFleur. He should be charged for crimes against humanity. This is ridiculous. I mean, how many games do we have to see Joe Barry blow this defense? This is terrible. I mean, between the run game, passing game, 1 week it's the rushing attack that's killing us. The other week today, it's Baker Mayfield looking like Tom Brady out there. And we can't tolerate this. And shame on Matt LaFleur for not making a change. Shame on him for not firing Joe Barry after last year. This team will not be taken serious until they get rid of that clown. I'm tired of him. All us Packer fans, we're going to get aneurysms watching this team with him as our defensive coordinator. So if they're going to be taken serious these last three games, Matt LaFleur better wake up, look himself in the mirror, and get rid of that fraudulent defensive coordinator that we have tomorrow.
Yeah, I guess I'm just if Joe Barry gets let go, I guess I would be shocked if it happened tonight or tomorrow.
What's the word bigger than shocked?
Floored, flabbergasted.
Yeah, no, yes, it's not. It's not going to happen because part of that does not recognize that it was okay, almost to the point of good, up until 2 weeks ago. You're 11th in points given up. That's as good as the Packers have been in the last 15 years, since 2010 when they won the Super Bowl, 13 years. So it doesn't mean that this wasn't horrific, but it just doesn't keep in mind what he had done with all the injuries up until the last two games. But, yeah, that's do we need to take a poll and see if you can get the record is 96% that Giannis is nice. So, should Joe Barry be fired, I think has a chance to trump that. I don't.
Yeah, and I just got a tweet here from Frankie. Is it really the coordinator or the players? At some point, the players need to be held accountable as well. Look, sure. I agree with that, and that's my point. Like I think that Joe Barry can get manipulated into doing some things that put the defense in advantageous spots. But again, like they didn't play bad defense. Like it wasn't a bad defensive call that led to the last touchdown. Like Joe Barry didn't miss the tackles that were missed on the last touchdown that the Buccaneers scored on a third down play. Like there's some of that gets factored into this as well. I mean, Barry's not good. They
created a turnover where the offense really, I'm not sure how much credit you give them for that touchdown. You could easily say that was as much the defense. So then the offense scored 13 points. So,
but look, I mean, it's a situation where there needs to be a long, hard look at what the hell is going on that side of the ball. Because some of it is Barry. Some of it's certainly the players. Like, you got to hold yourself accountable. Like, there's no way that there are that many defensive calls that are that bad, right? Like, you're just constantly putting the team in bad positions. I don't think that's the case. You got to, as a defender, you got to make plays. You can't allow you can't allow Chris Godwin to do what he did today and just run free over the middle of the field.
No, you don't know how much he would have helped or how healthy he is, but that becomes. I mean, we're just discussing reasons why Joe Barry's not going to get fired, and to me, why he hasn't been horrible this season. But I would say that fits certainly this week and last week as well at the end. So.
800-990-3776. Let's go out to Dan in Waukesha. Dan, you're up next on Green Bay Game Night.
Hello, gentlemen.
What's going on?
Good afternoon. Yeah. Hey, I just wanted to make a comment. I agree that Jordan Love is an up-and-coming, developing quarterback, but I think that what's never been discussed is Matt LaFleur's poor offensive play calling. I think he needs to get somebody else to make the offensive calls for him. That's just my opinion. Let me see what you think. Thank you.
Well, I was going to ask, of watching that game, of all the things you thought, Gabe.
Yeah.
Did at any point in the game go, you know what? If I was calling in the Packer postgame show, I'm talking about LaFleur's play calling.
No.
No. It looked like they ran early, and then Tampa Bay stopped it, and the pass was open, and they moved the ball pretty well.
Yeah.
When you go against a quarterback that has a perfect quarterback rating.
I guess what would you complain about today? Going for it on fourth down early in the game, 4th and 2 from the 4? Reed was open. Jordan Love. Reed was open. Love just made a bad throw.
And one of the reasons you go there is if you can get a turnover or something, then you're going to get great field position and maybe get a score there, and that's exactly how it played out.
Yeah. I don't know. I at no point did I think, the play calling is an issue today.
But you're right when you said earlier, there's a feeling now that nobody thought could exist for this season, and that is being disappointed and almost just being ticked off. Almost like you want to go, why did you do this to us?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you do this to us? One of the great teases ever. You have 2 great games against good teams, and it's reasonable to think that you can make the playoffs. And you have a reasonably easy schedule.
Yep.
And now you do this. You do this. And if they had not teased us, Gabe, we wouldn't be that mad. We wouldn't be that upset.
No. Because honestly, Homer, I expected a lot more games like today where the defense would let you down and hopefully Jordan Love and the offense played well. And that's kind of what we got today. I mean, Jordan Love and the offense, ultimately they only scored 20 points, but they're also kind of in effort mode at the end of the game where they're just trying to push it down the field, and then Love fumbles and is, the turnover happens. But, I mean, at no point was I really that upset with the way things worked out offensively. It was all defensively.
And it's looking like if you picked them to win 6 games on the season, that seemed historically stupid at 6-6. Now they probably win more than 6. I mean, if they don't beat Carolina, then I might just not do the show. I just want to let you know ahead of time. It's Christmas Eve, right?
Yes, next Sunday, Christmas Eve.
They lose to Carolina. I don't know. Do I have to get approval ahead of time? You shouldn't. Should you? How about if we need to have a standard if they lose to Carolina, like we'll play all the spots, or we owe our partners something.
Yeah.
But can you talk to the peeps? Should not have to do a Packer postgame show on Christmas Eve if they lose to the University of Carolina, and they actually won today. So
they did win today. They won a barn burner against the Atlanta Falcons 9-7.
And then, so we're going to get to 7-8 with looking at the Packers' chances to make the playoffs, right? It's going to be.
I mean, yes. I mean, some of it still depends upon what happens in the rest of today.
But they're not going to be out of it if they beat Carolina the next week. There's no way they're going to be out
No. If they lose to Carolina, then they're out of it. But that's the only way. Like, if they lose to Carolina, they're out of it. I mean, really, realistically, with one loss, I think they're out of it. I
agree.
Maybe 8 and 9. You'd have to win so many damn tiebreakers. My guess is you got to get to 9-8, and you feel pretty good about your chances of getting to the postseason. But I can't even talk about the playoffs right now, Homer. Can't even talk about the playoffs.
I agree. No,
like that should not be a conversation anybody is having.
The Packers, and I said this a couple weeks ago, and they have earned the right for people to think they're better than expected. And when you do that, you then have earned the right for everybody to be mad when you, as I said once about a team that got me in trouble, when you take a dump for 2 weeks in a row. People have you showed them a level that even for a young team made it reasonable to assume that they would at least win one of these 2 games. And instead, is it any different than October?
No.
Right.
Nope. Because
you entered a time saying, Gabe, you say, what do you think? And you go, I don't know. They'll just figure out a way to lose. That's the way it was for all, right? How are they going to lose? I don't know, but they just always figure out a way to lose. And now that's how it's understandable to feel.
But, I mean, this ties their worst loss of the season in terms of final score. They gave up 34, same score to the Lions. I mean, the Vikings score was 24-10. It felt like, because they had a couple of opportunities late in that game, like that felt a little bit closer than 24-10. But, I mean, they've got 3 losses by 14 points this year, one of them coming to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A game in which you were favored. Like, it's just
by almost a touchdown, I think, right? Was it 5.5, 6.5?
Yeah. So, no, I think it only got to 3.5.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Down?
Yeah, it was only 3.5.
Well, then they were smart. The people that picked Tampa, then they were smart.
Yeah, the line was 3.5. 800-990-3776. Jason and Tauscher, you're up next on Green Bay Game Night.
Biggest apologist, Tosh, couldn't join us right away. I'm looking forward to him coming in the next hour because he's told us all year the defense is fine and doing just fine. And I keep hearing about how the defense has been fine despite the fact they haven't played one offense right in the top 5 scoring. They played 3 offenses in the top 13. We've had historically bad offenses against us this year. We're terrible. Tommy DeVito, 6 points, 7 sacks today for the Giants.
Yeah.
This is a horrendous defense. And I applaud you, Gabe, because you've been consistent. It isn't just, I mean, nobody disputes that Joe Barry should be fired. But how about the guy that I guess Tosh calls him a top 5 GM? Is Darnell Savage a good first-round pick? Is our boy Stokes, how does he play? Devondre Campbell, was that a great free agent signing? He looks like he's been done. The defense has been bad. And by the way, Mike Daniels did hint at what the issue was, Gabe, if you listen closely. He says the Packers are soft. He talked about playing in other places where they like players with attitudes. And he said at least my interpretation of the Tyler Dunn broadcast was that was not the case with regard to the Green Bay Packers. This is an organizational failure. Joe Barry is the latest iteration of 13 years of mediocre to bad defenses, despite all the first-round draft picks. We heard excuses. Oh, we're 11th. Homer, DVOA, which I'm sure Dave is familiar with. We are going to be last in the NFL in DVOA.
Yeah, I don't buy that, and I've never bought. I mean, that may apply to this year's team. Okay. That's the stat you use, but
I mean, when you can't stop Tommy DeVito. Yeah, but, by the way, Homer, do you see who the Panthers lost to today? Desmond Ridder and the Falcons, who we gave up 26 points to. We gave up points to Garoppolo to end the game, Garoppolo's bench. We gave up points to Kenny Pickett and the pathetic Steelers. We gave up points. I mean, this is a fundamentally bad defense, has been. Coaches are bad. The entire coaching staff. It's not just Barry. There's no one on that staff who's ever been a coordinator at any level. It's a bad, fundamentally root-to-branch, pathetic defense. We don't have a good scheme.
You should be happy.
Well, why am I going to be happy? I'm going to hear apologies.
No, you need these things to happen for him to get fired. I mean, given the stats and everything you've presented, you know LaFleur doesn't like to fire people. I would thought you'd call in Sam the happiest person in America. I've told you this was a bad defense for all the reasons you stated. No, they need to play like this for Barry to get fired. They make the playoffs. He ain't getting fired. What?
You're right. They'll look good against the Panthers next week, and Homer and Tosh will tell us about how great he is again. That's how it goes. I mean, he's been pathetic all season. That's the reality.
No, it's not the reality. But you can. It's as it stands today. The reality is he's been horrible the last 2 weeks. So You win. If I don't know if there's anything he can do. What would he have to do for you to say that he's better than horrific as you? What does he have to do? What if they throw a shutout the last 3 games? You'll still say he sucks because anything he does, you'll say he did it against a bad offense, right?
Well,
There's nothing he can do to impress you.
No.
Right?
No, there's not. And Jason, we appreciate the call. I mean, but also they're going up against the worst team in the league next week.
Correct.
And then they've got a backup quarterback in Nick Mullins the following week. And then a Bears team that dropped. Darnell Mooney had a chance homer. I don't know if you saw it.
I did not.
The Bears almost completed a Hail Mary to win the game. Like, it was like, because he was on the ground, but, you have, like, the massive humanity. The ball gets tipped back, and Mooney's laying there on the ground. It gets tipped to him, and he, like, bobbles it. Ends up being an interception for the Browns. But so the Bears ended up losing today. However, this from the press conference, as far as Joe Barry goes. Matt LaFleur on if he'd consider it an in-season change at coordinator, quote, now's not the time for that.
I give somebody credit for asking.
Yeah, I mean, it had to be asked, and I'm not shocked that that's the answer, because as Jason pointed out, like, I don't know who's calling plays the final 3 games, just kind of a desperation move. If that was the direction that they went. Like, they're sinking or swimming the rest of the year with Joe Barry. And then if you are anti-Joe Barry, you are hoping that he is gone at the end of the season. Football fans, tailgating season is here. If you want to win at tailgating, you need to Bodify your beverage choice. Bodabox wine is the ultimate addition to your tailgate party. This premium wine comes in a box fitting perfectly in your cooler or trunk. There's no heavy glass or corkscrew to deal with. 1 3-liter Bodabox is equivalent to 4 bottles of wine, so it's great for sharing. Bring the wine that wins with wine critics. Bodabox. This is how we Boda. Please drink responsibly. Must be 21 or older. Bodabox Vineyards, Manteca, California. Back to your phone calls on the Bodabox wine line as the Packers fall to the Buccaneers 34-20. Coming up next on Green Bay Game Night.
We're back with Green Bay Game Night after this on ESPN Wisconsin and WTMJ.
Tito's handmade vodka is so good and smooth, you can mix it with anything. Now, hear us out. If your usual brunch cocktail sounds like a Tito's Bloody Mary stacked with garnishes is more like Tito's. Sounds pretty good. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
The Island Resort and Casino is the Midwest's premier resort destination. And purchasing gift cards for the island makes holiday gift-giving easy. Treat the golfer on your list to a stay-and-play package on championship courses. Gaming, dining, entertainment, the Drift Spa. There's something for everyone with Island Resort and Casino gift cards. Order today by calling 877-ISL-SHOW and experience the possibilities at the island.
Kessler's has the perfect Christmas gifts for under $115.
Number 1.
The Time and Eternity Diamond Pendant empowers you to accomplish the impossible together.
Love has a magnificent, magical kind of energy.
Now imagine that energy.
That magical energy of love.
Captured in a pendant for time and eternity.
It's a symbol that says the two of you will always be connected.
Number 2.
This Christmas is your chance to own a moon and back diamond pendant.
A perfect Valentine's heart cupped inside a crescent moon with the engraved message, I love you to the moon and back.
And Kessler's price of just $48 will send you to the moon with joy.
Number 3.
The life we share is an important diamond pendant that speaks of all the wonderful things that exist because the two of you came together.
3 perfect Christmas gifts for under $115.
From one perfect store.
Find the Kessler's Diamonds nearest you.
And see our extended holiday hours
at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Beyond where you play, there's a pickleball kingdom where you can take lessons, grab a bite to eat, shop the pro shop, or join a league. Pickleball Kingdom Brookfield is the newest professional indoor facility in the Milwaukee area with unlimited access to court time. They're offering over $100 off a 3-month membership gift certificate. Don't forget this perfect holiday gift in anticipation of Pickleball Kingdom's grand opening. Pickleball Kingdom Brookfield, opening spring 2024 at the Ruby Isle Shopping Center. Pickleballkingdom.com/Brookfield.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly.
I would recommend QC to anybody.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
Super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Set your game plan for a new baseball season with a 2024 Brewers 4-pack. Pick from 4 action-packed plan choices, each loaded with can't-miss Brewers games to fit your schedule and the best ticket prices. All available before single-game tickets are sold. Plus, when you buy a pair of 4-packs, you'll get a limited edition Brewers knit hat. Find the right plan for you today at brewers.com/4packs.
This is Green Bay Game Night on ESPN Wisconsin and WTMJ.
Love to the tight end, Kraft, and he's in for a Packers touchdown. Tucker Kraft with his second touchdown of the season. And Green Bay takes advantage after the Mayfield lost fumble.
Look, I know through the first half hour or so of Green Bay Game Night, we've really focused on the negative. And it's hard not to. When you lose 34-20 in a game, you're favored by 3.5 points. And, more likely the playoffs are on the line for your team. That if you win, you're in a really good spot going forward. Win that game, get back to 500. Win next week against Carolina, you're a game over 500. And you're feeling good going into games against Minnesota and Chicago to end the season. Instead, you lose the game. But, there are some positives, Homer, as this is Green Bay Game Night. Homer and Gabe hanging out with you. Tauscher going to be joining a little bit later than usual, 4:15 today. Jordan Love played great today. Dontavian Wicks continued to emerge. Jaden Reed had the unbelievable touchdown catch. And Tucker Kraft, man, for a guy that we thought was going to take some time to really blossom and bloom coming from where he came from, ever since Luke Musgrave went down, Tucker Kraft has just stepped up and answered the bell. He has had multiple big plays the last couple of weeks.
No, the offense, the future of the offense looks outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have Watson, and it looks out. There are just multiple players that can help. You'll have to resolve the running situation, but Aaron Jones was okay when he played. But yeah, the positives are Jordan Love and the offense. And that would normally be good enough if you hadn't gotten to 6-6 and beaten Detroit and Kansas City.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the positive. And now that we are back to thinking they're the team of 6 wins, 7 wins, maybe 8 wins, and maybe they'll win. But I'm looking ahead. I'm assuming a win against Carolina, and then we're at 7-8, and they'll be in the middle of it again. And I'm totally with you that they have to win the 2 games after that. And there's no reason to believe it's going to be easy, because there's no reason to believe anything's going to be easy. Probably the biggest story is just what you had about the comments of Matt LaFleur about Joe Barry. I think that's the number one topic of this game, is another historically bad performance by Joe Barry. Somebody said that, and you can check, that this was the first time ever against the Packers. Was it maybe at Lambeau?
First time at Lambeau that a visiting quarterback has had a perfect quarterback rating. It's not the first time. Apparently it happened the Bears back in the 80s. One of their quarterbacks had a perfect quarterback rating, saw that. But first time, I believe, at Lambeau Field.
Hey, at Lambeau, who was the defensive coordinator the first time a opposing quarterback had a perfect quarterback rating? You know what everyone's going to say? Oh, that had to be, wasn't his worst day ever, but that's got to be a Joe Barry.
800.
It's hard to be that bad.
800-990-3776. Let's go to Jason in Racine. Jason, you're up next on Green Bay Game Night.
Hi, guys. I agree with a couple points that were brought up earlier. The offense, I think, we're showing advancement for sure. I have more faith in them by far than the defense. But here's the problem I have with this defense, and I believe Jason, the caller before me, said something very similar. They're soft. And if you look back through all the years, going back to, Rodgers and Favre, the years that we did win the Super Bowls, I say we like we're playing, the years that the Packers did win the Super Bowls, them were actually, tough defenses. I agree Barry's got to go. He's absolutely horrible. And the debate on whether it's the players or the coaching aren't the players a reflection of the coach? So you can only assume at this point that Barry is just not doing what he's supposed to do, because that's embarrassing. Last week and this week, I feel like the commentators, watching on TV, were literally kind of making fun of the defense, and it shouldn't be that way. Every other team seems like they got this roughness and toughness to them, but the Packers just don't. And to me, that's coaching, that's Barry, and it's all his fault.
There you have it.
No, what do you say to counter that? You can't.
No, I got nothing.
I got nothing.
No, I mean, what? You expect me to defend Joe Barry after Baker Mayfield had a perfect quarterback rating?
No, I would say it's accurate. They've been soft. They haven't been a great tackling team, but.
I mean, that's the fireable offense, right? Like, the first thing that he said was, one thing's for sure, this team's going to tackle. And one thing's for sure, Homer, the one thing they have not done over the 3 years that Joe Barry's been the defensive coordinator is tackle.
Correct. Yeah. No, I don't know that have they done anything that he emphasized that they would do? I don't.
I can't imagine. It's not like they've been. I mean, what have the Packers defense been good at over the last 3 years? Like, the one thing that they were good at today, heading into today, this season, is they were like top 10 or 8th in, I believe, in passing yards allowed per game. Yep. Whoops. Gave up 281 passes. I guess 253 once you factor in the sack, or 353 once you factor in the sacks. But I mean, Baker Mayfield just had a perfect quarterback rating. Like, that's not top 10 against the pass type of defense stuff. That's probably just because teams run the ball more on the Packers than they do anybody else, because they don't stop the run, which they did today to their defense, and then Baker Mayfield was able to carve them up. 800-990-3776. Let's go to Jim in Saukville. Jim, you're up next. Green Bay Game Night, Homer and Gabe, as the Buccaneers thrash the Packers 34-20.
Yeah. First, I'd like to say that a bad offense or defense, it isn't a matter that they don't have great games. In fact, it's like a 250 hitter. He doesn't go 1 for 4, 1 for 4, 1 for 4. He'll have stretches of maybe he'll have a hitting streak for 12 or 13, 14 games. And I think we have a huge sample size of Joe Barry, and that the final 3 games, as far as I'm concerned, really don't matter. When it's come to another team needing an outstanding passing performance, it's given up. If it's giving up 220 yards rushing in order to win the game, they fall short there. So unless LaFleur doesn't have the call on this, meaning Gutekunst and Murphy have nothing to say about it, I think the reality is LaFleur, if he doesn't fire Barry, wouldn't you agree it establishes a basis to level much more criticism on LaFleur, simply in terms of production of the team and the record, aside from whether he should fire him or not. But if he says Barry's the guy, that suggests Barry's done a good enough job, and our losses are more on the offense and me than on Barry. I can't see why he wouldn't fire him And does Gutekunst and Murphy, do they step in at all if he doesn't?
Well, Gutekunst can't. Straight up, Gutekunst can't. He cannot.
He doesn't have the authority.
Does not have the authority with the way that the organization is structured. So the only person who could step in and force Matt LaFleur's hand on anything would be Mark Murphy. So, I mean, and I have a hard time believing that Mark Murphy would dictate to Matt LaFleur, hey, you have to fire this guy. Like that, the structure is, no.
Right. They don't believe that's the way an organization properly does things. Not in this case or any case. That's why getting rid of Mike McCarthy when they did seemed rare. So I guess we have a little history of Mark Murphy doing something we hadn't seen before. But I would be shocked, given the realistic expectations of how good this team was going to be and how young it is and all those things, that some of this or the pressure on Barry isn't the same because the expectations were not that high, other than how we felt 2 weeks ago when they got to 500.
Yeah, 800-990-3776. Up next is Cedric in Louisiana. Cedric, you're on Green Bay Game Night with Homer and Gabe.
Yes, guys. I'd have to agree with the earlier callers. It seems that this defense is basically unwatchable. I mean, we've looked at this defense for several years, and it lends to questions. Can Joe Barry fix this defense? And when will he fix it? And if he can't fix it, why hasn't he fixed it with all this time that he's been given? Because it just seems that, we're getting worse, and there's no fix to this defense. So I really think it would relieve Barry a lot if he found another job, because we need to see some improvement on this defense.
Yeah, and I think those are all fair points. Like, you just have not with what's encouraging about the offense, and it's like the exact opposite on the defense, right? Like, you're encouraged by the offense because you've seen the growth. Like Jordan Love with a 111.5 quarterback rating, having the throw that he had for the touchdown to Jaden Reed, the emergence of Dontavian Wicks, the emergence of Tucker Kraft. You haven't seen any of that on defense. You haven't seen any growth over the course of the year on the defense. There was a time where and Carrington Valentine had an okay game, had a breakup today, but I mean, I don't think you can say anybody in the defensive backfield had a good game when you give up that kind of passing yards to Baker Mayfield. So you've seen a couple of guys, emerge here and there, but I mean, there's nobody standing out as a big time difference maker on that defense right now. There's no growth within that defense. And I think that's where they're, to the point that Cedric just had. I think that's where a lot of that frustration comes. Like, if they had lost today 24-20 and the defense was making some plays and had a couple of turnovers and, just at the end it wasn't their day, but that wasn't the case. Like, they were just, 2nd and 18. Like, they would make a play, get a sack, and then give up the yardage right back to Tampa Bay today. 2nd and 18. Oh, no big deal. Tampa Bay's still getting the first down. 3rd and 8. Oh, yeah. No, that's not a problem. They're picking that up.
What was it? 3rd 28 or 29 at the end of the first half. I mean, they're just these times where 2nd and 29. 2nd and 29.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then Godwin for 24 yards. How's that happen?
Tampa Bay was 7 of 11 on 3rd down today, 1 of 1 on 4th down. So realistically, yeah, there were only 3 opportunities, 3 times where they stopped them on 3rd or 4th down. Or not even that, 2 times, because 4th down, when they didn't get one of those 3rd downs, and then they picked it up on 4th.
And then wouldn't you say in most cases they were just open?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Baker
couple of good throws where there were some tight windows that he fitted in, but for the most part, a lot of guys were just running open. Mm-hmm. 100%. Are you heading home from the game right now wishing there was another way? Maybe you'd rather take a nap or keep the party going instead of being behind the wheel. And there is a perfect and safe solution for you. It's the Milwaukee Broadhouse, Jack's American Pub, and Wanakee Golf Courses. They all offer transportation on game days. They've got bus services with private restrooms and all-you-can-drink packages. Book your round-trip ride from any of these locations and get complimentary access to an all-you-can-eat and drink tailgate at the bar on Holmgren Way. Make your game day experience a VIP experience with your official ride to Green Bay. There's still room for the home finale against Chicago. Book your trip today. Golf Wanaki, WANAKI.com, and use the code ESPN23 for 10% off. Plenty of people who want to get through, and we continue to get to your phone calls on that Botobox Wine line as the Packers fall to the Buccaneers to go to 6-8. You are up next on Green Bay Game Night.
Stay right here. Green Bay Game Night will be right back on ESPN Wisconsin and WTMJ.
Check out our brand new Hyundai dealership, one of the largest in the Midwest.
Step inside of our state-of-the-art showroom where you can view our new Hyundai models and some of our finest certified pre-owned.
We've also expanded our service center, staffed by our factory-certified technicians.
And right next door, we've started construction on our all-new Genesis of Waukesha dealership.
But we're not just building walls, we're building careers.
So if you're looking for a career with great benefits and opportunity for growth, Boucher is the place for you.
At Boucher, we ride with you every mile.
In the heart of downtown Milwaukee, there's an all-new Potawatomi Casino Hotel, where there's a table waiting for you at 12 bars and restaurants, a winning seat at 40 table games or 3,000 slot machines, plus the thrill of bingo, full-service sports betting, and more. Are you ready to spark something new? Light up your senses at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Explore more at paysbig.com.
We're about to tell you what we've chosen to be the 2023 Wow Collection at Kessler's.
And all I can say is wow.
$898 buys her a pair of exotic inside-out diamond hoop earrings. 1 carat total weight of newborn created diamonds.
Inside-out diamond hoops. Wow.
Another $898 buys her a tennis bracelet that will circle her wrist with glittering diamonds.
If you want that 1 carat tennis bracelet, but with natural diamonds, it's just $15.98. Wow.
A 1/4 carat diamond cluster pendant dripping with natural diamonds, just $598.
We believe these are the lowest diamond prices we'll see in our lifetime.
4 carats total weight.
Did you say 4 carats?
I did indeed.
It's a wow engagement ring with 2 wedding bands that will fill any room with hot points of light like a disco ball.
4 carats total weight, just $3,998.
Wow.
Find the Kessler's nearest you
and see our extended holiday hours
at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Experience, knowledge, and results. That's what really matters when you need help after a serious truck accident. You'll need a lawyer experienced in fighting and winning for people just like you. Gruber Law Offices has the resources, strong track record of success, and a team of experienced lawyers to take care of your needs. We've successfully helped people injured in big truck accidents for more than 35 years. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Q Club of Wisconsin is the hangout spot for watching sports, playing games, and having some drinks. Mike, what do you have going on over there?
Gary, we have so much going on. We're still the place to be on game days to catch the green and gold. Book a holiday party in our VIP room, which includes a private pool table, 2 shuffleboard tables, and 4 dartboards. Plus, we got great live music every Saturday night. And of course, we've got our fish fry on Wednesdays and Fridays, where you know we pile it high.
All happening at the Q Club of Wisconsin, North Grandview Boulevard in Waukesha. Check out QClubofWisconsin.com.
Brighten up your home, workplace, or event with flowers and trust Welke's Milwaukee Florist to be your local florist. Welke's is family-owned and has delivered beauty for customers and businesses for well over 100 years. Join Welke's Flower subscription so your home is always fresh, or discover the benefits of creating a corporate account and leave the work to them. Welke's Milwaukee Florist has locations in Elm Grove and at 56th and North in Milwaukee. Go to Welkes.com, that's WELKES.com for more info and to place an order.
Hear that? Those are sounds of Paul's Jewelers at work. We're your Milwaukee jeweler with over 50 years of experience. Paul's isn't just a store, we're a jewelry repair workshop. Do you have broken, unwanted jewelry? Our skilled goldsmiths can breathe new life into old treasures, bringing back their original luster. Paul's Jewelers, where the past meets the present with sparkle and shine. Highway 100 in National and paulsjewelers.com.
Welcome back to Green Bay Game Night on ESPN Wisconsin and WTMJ.
3rd and 4, and that pass is caught by Moore. First down and more. David Moore exploding to the end zone. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. A 52-yard strike.
Not a great great day for the Green Bay Packers as they fall to the Buccaneers 34-20. 800-990-3776 is the number for the Photo Box Wine Line. And Jeff texting in says, guys, the game wasn't even as close as the score showed. Running back could have scored on the last possession but went down to keep the clock running, so this is even more embarrassing. I guess it doesn't really matter to me. 41-20, 34-20, it's all the same.
No, I think it's about right. I don't agree with that. I think it was about 14 points. And
well, but what I'm saying is, okay, he scores at the end of the game. I guess I just doesn't. That doesn't make me more frustrated.
Correct. They got whooped.
Yeah, him scoring at the end of the game, that does nothing for me. The defense just did not do anything. Forced one punt today. That's it. Did have the one turnover, but one punt.
Yep, that was it. No, it was all, to me, it was just all pressure. If they created pressure, then they made it seem to make it somewhat difficult. And when there was no pressure, there were just people wide open. And you're right, there were a couple of pretty good passes, but in general, people were wide open. And I mentioned a few times when they had third and short, and there's nobody in front of the person who catches the ball 8 yards down the field for a first down.
Yep.
There were a couple, as you alluded to, where there was somebody in front and they didn't get to it. But there are just things where it can't be that bad. And then you have just the missed tackles. And I would agree that they've kind of been soft, but I don't. To me, it's more tackling. I get, if you're soft, you're not tackled. They seem to miss tackles. I don't watch all the other teams. You probably do. What things about Green Bay to you, Gabe, stand out, not just to Green Bay, but relative to watching other teams play?
It seems that the Packers can get manipulated into being in poor matchups. And when I think back to, and Matt LaFleur wanted to get into the schematic, the semantic argument about, well, those two standing linebackers, we consider those off, defensive linemen. So if you don't know ball, and you want to do that whole thing. But when we were talking about the Packers having two down linemen, it was really more about why are you in nickel when it's first and goal from the 4, right? So Joe Barry can get manipulated into having one of his less bigger bodies and having a nickel back on the field, and then teams can just run inside the goal line. We've seen that happen a lot of times. And then clearly today, there was, I'm not quite sure how they kept doing it, but clearly they wanted to get their wide receivers and were able to consistently get wide receivers matched up against linebackers in zones. Chris Godwin's just running past, and, I had a buddy texting me, I saw some of the tweets, what, you can't have Isaiah, you can't have Campbell, one-on-one against Godwin. Well, he wasn't one-on-one, it was zone. But clearly the Buccaneers were able to do something there that they got the matchup, or they got what they wanted the Packers to be in, right? We've got the Packers in zone. We've got our wide receiver in the middle. These linebackers have no chance. So I just feel like he can get manipulated into different things, whereas that happens occasionally for other teams, right? You see, it happened when the Packers had Devontae Adams, and they'd move him all over the place. And every once in a while, a linebacker would be lined up on him in the slot. But it was every once in a while. It just seems that once a team finds one thing they can get Joe Barry to do, they just constantly go back to it. And he's got no response for it.
And it seems easy.
Yeah, They know he's not going to do anything differently. He's got his game plan, so he's just going to keep going, he's going to keep rolling, that's just the way it's going to be. 800-990-3776. Bill in Atlanta. Bill, you're on Green Bay Game Night with Homer and Gabe as we anxiously await for Tauscher's opening statement, which is about 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
What's up, Bill? Bill? I can hear myself echoing on the phone, and he's not there. All right, Bill, Bill, if you call back, we'll put you right to the front of the line. Not quite sure what happened there. Let's go to Mike in Fargo. Mike, you are on Green Bay Game Night.
Good evening or afternoon. Yeah, just a couple comments on LaFleur during this press conference this week. He talked about, we had an extra day there. We put in a game plan for Tampa when they should have put in an extra day for the Giants. And then he said, Wednesday, just kind of walked through, Thursday, jogged through, Friday, kind of our normal stuff. Obviously, I know, short week, they need rest and all that, but just those comments like that, I just to say those things like we're walking through doing all this stuff. I mean, I don't hear Bill Belichick and, saying the stuff that he does. But anyway, with that being said, once again, love not under center as much as possible. I would have liked to have seen that more. And I was at the game, and they threw down the middle of the field. And based on your last comment there, just what you said, that's what comment on. They threw down the middle of the field over and over and over and over and over and over. And I'm just sitting there. There's two girls behind me. I go, where do you think they're going to throw the ball? And they both go, in the middle. And then shortly thereafter, there goes what's his name for the TD. My daughter's sitting at home, texts me like, "Why is Campbell on that guy?" But anyway, it comes down. My last thing is, you go 0-16 in Detroit, the defensive coordinator. Then you go get other jobs, and maybe he's a hell of a linebacker coach, but he's not a defensive coordinator over and over, and it reminds me of Mike Zimmer hiring all his buddies in Minnesota, and finally it just comes crashing down. And you never hire who you can't fire, and it's just I'm actually looking back.
Hold on, I got to write that one down.
Never
hire who you can't fire. I mean, like, don't hire your wife or what? Who qualifies as people you can't fire?
Well, I mean, why would you? I mean, it's LaFleur's buddy. It's his buddy. I mean, what from all these, from the Rams and all that.
He's his buddy, but look, he thinks he's good. He thinks he can do the job. I don't for a second think that he hired him.
You know what's going to happen?
He's no good, but he's my buddy. Gabe, do you think he hired Joe Barry thinking he's no good, but he's my buddy?
Well, that's what these guys. Some of the good ones do, but the other ones
I don't think so.
And
I don't.
Where I'm going is if LaFleur doesn't want, I mean, keep on doing what he's doing. I mean, they're going to say, see you both. I mean, see you later, alligator. I mean, you got to be responsible for that defense going against, I mean, it was a giant Super Bowl. You knew what was going to happen, and they come in, laid an egg. And, my last comment, I'm sorry, but I've been going to these games, and I see these players, some of them just aren't Campbell all year long, just not into it, just doesn't want to be in Green Bay. There's some other ones that don't want to be here anymore, and it's just Preston Smith. He's old. You can't get around tackles. He's slow. You have what you have. He won't be here next year, either one of them. You need some youth over there. It's just it's sad.
This is so hard because we don't have anything as a counter. There's no counter.
Well, I think he's kind of, just kind of converging two things there. Like, do I think Preston Smith wants to be here? Yes, I think Preston Smith wants to be here. Do I think Devondre Campbell wants to be here? Yes. I think that he does not want Preston Smith here. I believe he doesn't want Devondre Campbell here.
Right.
Which, again, I can't argue with because it's not like they've been tremendous. I think that, Preston Smith's been solid. He's just a solid player at this point. You can't have all-stars at every position. But
the only one that doesn't seem to want to be here to me is Jair Alexander.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But Jair's also just a weird dude.
Be hurt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Jair's just a different guy. So I am still not. And by the way, because Jair has shown he can be as good as he has shown, it's another reason. After watching the game today, I would not be keen on letting him go. You have very few field tilters, and he is, when right, a field tilter.
Yeah, you just don't know when he's going to play.
Correct. Yep.
But yeah, I'm not gonna go out of to get rid of him. I wonder how healthy he is, given is his injury such that he doesn't play with the same way he used to. But yeah, there's no That's another thing that was good about Joe Barry, is that he had all these people missing and they still were doing okay or better than average. And now you can't say anything. Yes, they sucked. All those who hate him. But that's my biggest point before Tauscher starts. If you really hate Joe Barry, then you should be happy, because this is the kind of performance that will get him fired. And it hurts this year, and it hurts now when you think the team is going to be better. But Joe Barry's future with the Green Bay Packers will be determined in the next 3 weeks. I think it's that iffy. You want to join that club, Gabe?
Sure, I'll join that club.
I mean, if they let teams score 30, given the offenses, and again, Tampa Bay was, in terms of the offense, was 20-something. They haven't been scoring that many points. That's probably the most they've had this year, or close to it. They're 22nd. So you do this. It's one thing to be bad. It's another to embarrass. If these bad offensive teams and they put up in the 30s, then yeah, I think that I didn't think so until this week that could cost Joe Barry. And if you think he's the reason, then you should hope they're just terrible. Because if they're good defensively, he's coming back.
It's the second highest total. The Buccaneers scored 37 points in a loss to the Texans, 39-37 earlier this year. So second time they've reached that 30-point threshold for the Buccaneers this year. In 2 minutes, we'll get back to your phone calls. Just one more segment, I should say, before Tauscher joins us. Back to you in 2 minutes on Green Bay Game Night.
More Green Bay Game Night coming up on ESPN Wisconsin and WTMJ.
Circus Sports is now available at American Place. Bet on your favorite Milwaukee and Wisconsin teams, from Wisconsin football and basketball to all the Milwaukee basketball action, as well as more games nationwide. The Circus Sportsbook at American Place has 36 TVs, so you won't miss any of the action. And it's just 30 minutes from Kenosha and 45 minutes from Racine. For more information and to find out about their events, go to circusports.com. All Circus Sports bets must be placed in Illinois. If you or someone you know may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER or text GAMB to 833-234.
Come to Kessler's this Christmas.
You'll get the lowest prices of a lifetime.
And a gift that will last forever.
Put a bigger diamond in her engagement ring.
Or give her a big pair of diamond stud earrings.
The kind that people notice from across the room.
Diamond stud earrings always fit perfectly, and they can be worn with anything.
But diamond earrings always look best when they are worn with a smile.
And with every purchase of at least $298, you'll get a marvelous leather travel case for your jewelry.
Just 4 inches square by 2 inches thick, wonderfully padded and full of perfect little compartments.
You're going to love it.
Kessler's is the largest employee-owned diamond company in the world.
Our stores have nearly 9,000 Google reviews.
And each store has a 4.9 star average.
Except for the 2 that have 5 stars.
You're going to be happy, happy, happy.
Find the Kessler's nearest you
and see our extended holiday hours
at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Ever wonder how the best athletes find the power to jump higher, cut quicker, skate smoother, drive farther, and stick the landing? At Prevea Orthopedics in Green Bay, we know power starts with the hips. That's why Dr. Michael Ryan and our team of experts provide comprehensive and advanced expertise in hip care, unlike anywhere else. Come to Prevea Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, where we can preserve your hips so you can pursue your goals. Prevea Orthopedics, specializing in you.
You heard the final whistle. That means the postgame is ready to roll. This is Green Bay Game Night, powered by ESPN Wisconsin. Live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios in downtown Milwaukee. Alongside Homer and Packers Hall of Famer Mark Tauscher, here's Gabe Neitzel.
Packers fall to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 34-20 at home. Packers now 6-8 on the season. We're taking your calls, taking your texts on the Budbox One line at 800-990-3776. I thought he was going to be until 4:15. I thought we had a little bit more time, but I am excited that the Packers Hall of Famer, the Super Bowl champion, is now here. course, I'm talking about Mark Tauscher, and even though we're an hour into the show, Tausch, we've been taking calls, we've been taking texts, hearing from myself and Homer, but we always afford you to have your opening statement. It's not the show's opening statement, but your opening statement as the Packers fall to the Buccaneers and are now 6-8.
Yeah, disappointing. I can't wait to kind of hear what I know what the fans are thinking, because I've been at hockey for the majority. I watched the game with a bunch of hockey folks today, and it's been all about firing Joe Barry. It's been about the defense, and there's no excuse for what we saw today when you have Godwin catching 10 for $155 and Baker Mayfield. So we now have looked at Joey DeVito and Baker Mayfield having career games in the last two. In cases where this team was in position to be a playoff team, and you put up that kind of defensive performance today, I know everybody's going to be calling for Joe Barry's job. I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're going to see the season finish out. And if the season finishes as we've seen, Matt LaFleur is going to be forced to probably do something he doesn't want to do, because what this defense has put out there the last two games is nothing like it was against the Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs. And that inconsistency and the fact that teams continue to do things to this Packer defense under Joe Barry, it's unacceptable. And I think you're starting to see and feel that. I did not think this team would regress again. And I think defensively they have. And when you do that, you lose to teams that you shouldn't. And right now, the Green Bay Packers, they have ridden the highs, they've ridden the lows, and I think we're starting to see who this football team is, which is a team that when at its best can beat anybody, and when they're just playing their normal football can lose to anybody. And unfortunately, you have to see a full sample size to see it. We've seen it, and that's why this is an average to below average football team that will have to get very fortunate now to be a playoff team, which 2 weeks ago we've ridden the wave, and the wave has washed us ashore after watching what we did today at Lambeau.
Yeah, 6-8. Bill Parcells famously once said, "You are what your record says you are," and 6-8 is a below average football team. Like the two games we got excited about, Tausch, those are the aberrations right now, because we've seen more of what they looked like today than those two games that just happened to stand out.
Yep, and you know what? I think it's easy to kind of ride that. I think you, as a young football team and watching this team, you kept thinking, all right, they're getting better. And they have. I think offensively, from where we were in October, markedly better.
Oh, yeah.
But you see when you're playing bad teams, the Rams, is offensively with Rippon at quarterback. But now with DeVito doing what he was able to do, which, again, I wasn't that discouraged. They beat us with his feet a little bit. He had 100 yards going into the last drive. That wasn't what we saw today. Today was a dismantling on all fronts, running the football. And Baker Mayfield, he's the number one overall pick, but he is not that guy. He's not a guy that comes into your field and throws for 380. That's unacceptable. And I know Matt LaFleur, I've seen some of the quotes. He's going to look at the film. The film stinks. The middle of the field was wide open. And, yeah, you have injuries around. You have Jair's not playing. He hadn't played most of the season. And the defense has looked better than what we saw today. So,
Gabe,
it ain't working.
Tell Tausch the historic nature of the performance by
Baker Mayfield. First visiting quarterback at Lambeau Field to ever have a perfect quarterback rating.
Okay, I saw that stat. I don't know. How can you have a perfect quarterback stat when you have a turnover and a sack fumble? How is that perfect?
Well, because it's a passer rating, right? He didn't throw a pick.
Yeah, but it was
158.3.
The bottom line is, yeah, that's all great. He had way too good of a game, and I don't know. Like, if I'm sitting here and I don't know, they got after him. It wasn't like they didn't blitz. They tried different things. They ran some stunts today, which was one of the big criticisms. So they sacked Baker a few times. They got in his face a little bit, but it was just.
But the problem is, Tausch, they would have that sack, and then it'd be 2nd and 18, and the next thing you know, it's 1st and 10 because they'd give up a 25-yard play.
The 2nd and 29 play was god-awful.
Woof.
But there was a ton of that, and it just kept it was all day the middle of the field. The middle of the field was, whether it was slants or just the tight end, it was way too easy. Baker Mayfield, you need to make him think. You need to make him – it can't be that easy. And, I always like to look at the whole picture of things and why didn't it work? Well, today was if you've been a Joe Barry critic, which I know everybody has been, I've tried to slow the roll. I've never thought Joe Barry is, God's gift to defensive coordinators, but I've always thought that he is okay. He's adequate. And I still think, even after today, his stat line, it's not going to look as pretty because the scoring defense is going to be way up. But you're seeing way too much stuff that comes easy when you're looking at what this defense allows under Joe Barry. And I think everybody's starting to see that. And what we're doing, regardless of injuries and talent and everything else, I don't think anybody's saying, well, there's no talent on this defense. I certainly am not. I think you look at it schematically.
I don't know if there's as much talent as we think.
Well, it's not out there yet. I mean, Kevin King, you expect him to be back full tilt. He hadn't played a real football. I mean, he's played a little bit, one game 6 weeks ago. He's missed a ton of. So there's always going to be excuses, but nobody cares about the excuses. The bottom line is the results stunk, and what you're seeing isn't good enough. And Matt LaFleur, again, everybody that's crushing Joe Barry. Great. Go ahead, crush him as you wish. Why is Joe Barry still the D coordinator? Who made that decision? Not 24 hours after last year's disappointing, brutal game at home against Detroit to get into the playoffs. Not 24 hours later, yep, he's back. That's on Matt LaFleur too, guys. So for everybody out there that's crushing Joe Barry, go ahead. But let's remember why Joe Barry is where he is. And that's Matt LaFleur.
800-990-3776 is the number for the Boda Box Wide Line. Let's quickly go to Paul in Indiana. Paul, you're up next on Green Bay Game Night.
Hey, good evening, guys. As if I wasn't having a bad enough day, did Tauscher just say that Kevin King's coming back? Did I hear that right?
Yeah, we let that fly.
I mean,
I meant
it was Eric Stokes. Sorry, no, I mean it was
Stokey.
Paul, it was the Germans bombing Pearl Harbor moment. He was cooking. I was going to let it go.
Paul, I have PTSD from that NFC Championship game 3 or 4 years ago. That's on me.
Yeah, I don't even remember what I was going to say. I heard Kevin King, but
it just threw you into a fit of rage.
Yeah, well, because TJ is still in Pittsburgh. But so Tausch, earlier this week, you had a really astute caller call in and talk about having Wildy do a story looking at last year's Packers defense and last year's Vikings defense versus this year's, and how much different. I mean, last year's Vikings defense was historically bad. Every major category, bottom 5. And this year they're going to be top 10, if not top 5, in all the important categories. Hell, they won a game 0-3. So the coordinator matters, and everybody's been talking about it. Barry's got to go. I do think there's talent. I think the Packers have more talent in the defense than the Vikings do, and the Vikings are going to be much better this year with Flores. So, yeah, Barry's got to go. I mean, I think that's the consensus on the show. But I don't know. I think I had more to say, but the Kevin King thing still bringing their arm.
Yeah, I apologize for rattling you with Kevin King. Stokey and King, both high picks. Yeah, I get it. The bottom line
is... They're kind of longer, lanky guys. They look a little bit alike, too. I get you.
I'll say I felt like, because there was so much Joe Barry talk last week, that I felt was a little bit unwarranted. I mean, I understood why people were feeling that way, but, the rushing, all the other stuff. The part that I think last year, I couldn't get my head wrapped around. I think we were still on I think he announced that in the afternoon of the Monday after that Lions game that we're bringing Joe Barry and the defensive staff back. And at that point, you're thinking, all right, Fangio is somebody that he really liked. Flores, who's obviously doing a great job up in Minnesota. You don't even have any interest in going down those avenues because you feel content with what you have. And the defense played better at the end of the season. Now, this year, the defense played some of its better ball in the middle part of the season, and now you're seeing a big regression. So I almost wonder from a Packer fan standpoint, would you rather this team make the playoffs with the defense playing strong against 3 pretty weak offenses to finish, or would you rather just see this thing implode so that you find a new defensive coordinator? I feel like after today, again with the prisoner of the moment in play, people are just done and want this thing over and want to move forward with a new defensive coordinator. And I'm telling you right now, if Matt LaFleur keeps Joe Barry, which I know the press got after him and pushed whether or not that was going to be something they did in the next 3 weeks, if this team finishes 3-0, gets to 9 wins, I still think if they can do that, they make the playoffs at 9-8. If that happens, I don't know if Matt LaFleur would still pull the plug on Joe Barry. I don't know. So would you rather have it that way and kind of fade to the finish like what is happening, or on the flip side of it, because the Minnesota Vikings comp, why I brought it up this week and why I hope Jason writes a story on it, because Minnesota was so bad last year.
Yes.
And they didn't do a ton. It's not like they brought in a ton of stud players on defense.
No,
their coordinators made a monster difference. And we're going to stay status quo as long as Joe Barry's here. And status quo for parts of this season was okay. But it's never going to be great. At best, it was going to be, top 10 scoring, 20th in rushing, and you don't give up big plays. Well, today he gave up a ton of big plays. My whole thing with Joe Barry has been, but they don't do this. They don't give up the big plays. Well, I can't sit here today doing the show tell you they didn't give up big plays because they gave up big plays all over the place today.
800 can help you with the fans.
What's that?
I'd be close to 100%. Lose as many as you can to get rid of Joe Barry.
Pull it.
Okay. The all-time record is 96%.
Yeah, I mean,
Giannis, nice.
No,
Giannis could go down.
We can put it up there. No, I mean, people still want to go to the playoffs. People want to win. Like, winning is always better than
it's
losing.
one or the other.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. Don't hedge. Don't wildy it. It's got to be both. And I agree it's going to be get rid of Joe Barry and lose.
Win and Joe Barry comes back next year, or lose so Joe Barry doesn't come back next year.
No, you lose out and the defense stinks and Joe Barry gets fired, or the defense plays strong, you win and get in the playoffs. What would you rather have happen the last 3 weeks?
Okay, that won't be 96%, but
800-990-3776, the number to get into the show. Quickly, let's go to Cheesehead Bucky. You are up next on Green Bay Game Night. Homer, Gabe, and Tausch.
Hey, guys. So real quick, hear me out here. I think we need to start looking at Rich Bisciotti, who has his fingerprint and choice of players throughout this roster that have now, because of injury, been forced to play. Guys like Keyshawn Nixon, who are not NFL corners.
Well, Keyshawn Nixon, Cheesehead Bucky, I got to stop you right there. Like, Keyshawn Nixon is their choice. Like, they signed him to be the nickel corner. He's not playing because of injury. He is their top choice to be on the inside.
Right, but he is on that team because of Rich Bisciotti, 100%.
No.
If Rich Bisciotti never goes to Green Bay, Keyshawn Nixon is not on that team. That is 100% fact.
Couldn't disagree more, but continue.
And with guys like him being out there who was brought in, let's remember, originally, why was he brought in on this team?
Yeah, he was a returner, but the Packers decided...
Return kicks.
Yeah, return kicks, but the Packers decided to give him a big contract because they also wanted him to be the corner this offseason. Like, that was a Brian Gutekunst decision.
Right, but he's never even on this roster if Rich doesn't come in last
Okay, sure. Just continue with whatever you're saying. Like,
So my point is we need to look at the highest paid guy who has guys all over this roster, Rudy Ford as well, who's on this team strictly because of Joe Barry. I mean, not Joe Barry, Rich Bisciotti. He needs to go, as well as they need to fire everybody besides Matt, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, if they're firing everybody, then why wouldn't you just fire Matt at that point? If you're firing everybody, like, why wouldn't you just...
I think offensively, Matt has done great with Jordan and the young players. I don't think that the progression of the offense is the reason for this team. I think it's the special teams play and the defense and potentially the players that are out there. So you have to give Goot some of that responsibility with the semblance of that roster on the back end.
Okay, quick question for you guys, for Cheesehead Bucky and for you guys. Is this a scheme coordinator problem or is it a player problem?
I tend to lean more player problem.
Okay, Gabe?
Man, I'm pretty 50-50 on this. Because I go back to, and look, we're falling behind. We need to take a break here. But I want to hear your...
I want to know what Tausch says. He's the former player.
Yeah, so that's what I want to hear. Yes, exactly. That's what I was getting to, Homer.
Yeah.
I want to know what your thoughts were on the Mike Daniels tweet from earlier this week. Because that thing has just been lingering in my head ever since I read it last week. We'll get to Tauscher's response on that, plus your calls on that Botobox wine line coming up next. But 24/7 sports betting is here in the great city of Milwaukee. Thanks to Potawatomi Casino Hotel and the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Enjoy the convenience of self-service kiosks, odds boards, wall-to-wall TVs, free parking, a full-service bar, and numerous food options. Bet big, bet bold at the Potawatomi Sportsbook at the Potawatomi Casino Hotel.
We're back with Green Bay Game Night after this on ESPN Wisconsin and WTMJ.
Tito's handmade vodka is so good and smooth, you can mix it with anything. Now, hear us out. If your usual brunch cocktail sounds like a Tito's Bloody Mary stacked with garnishes is more like Tito's. Sounds pretty good. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
The Boucher Group has exciting news to share with you. We've expanded to better serve our community.
Introducing Nissan Lake Country, the newest addition to our family.
Step into our showroom and discover our exceptional selection of brand new Nissans.
We're also stocked with the best pre-owned options in the market.
And as we expand, we're not just growing our inventory, we're also growing our team.
So join a team that values your skills and celebrates your success.
Visit us online or in-store today and view our current job listings at bouchercareers.com.
The Island Resort and Casino is the Midwest's premier resort destination. And purchasing gift cards for the island makes holiday gift giving easy. Treat the golfer on your list to a stay and play package on championship courses. Gaming, dining, entertainment, the Drift Spa. There's something for everyone with Island Resort and Casino gift cards. Order today by calling 877-ISL-SHOW and experience the possibilities at the island.
Homer here. There's a good chance you're on a budget. We all are. She wants a diamond. You know it, I know it, and Robert Hack Diamonds knows it too, because they offer a huge selection of lab-grown diamonds, and they sell them at crazy prices. How about 2-carat total weight diamond studs for $9.99? Robert Hack Diamonds can get any size, shape, or clarity in natural or lab-grown diamonds. Don't buy until you call Robert Hack Diamonds. $9.99 for a 2-carat pair of diamond studs. Oh, baby! Robert Hack Diamonds in Greenfield and Brookfield. Why overspend when you can save at Robert Hack Diamonds for the same diamond you're looking for? Better for less. Some jewelers are charging nearly $5,000 for a lab-grown diamond. Not Robert Hack. Your visit will be worth it. Robert Hack also offers repair services and cash for your old gold. They got some of mine. Remember, before you do anything, call Robert Hack Diamonds. Visit roberthackdiamonds.com for information, roberthackdiamonds.com, and visit them in Brookfield or in Greenfield.
Give the gift of game this holiday season and spread the joy with a Milwaukee Bucks gift card. A guaranteed slam dunk for every fan on your list. Recipients can score tickets to Bucks games and other Fiserv Forum events through the Ticketmaster box office. Shop exclusive gear at the Bucks Pro Shop or get their favorite snack at Fiserv Forum's concessions. It's a big win for both you and them. To purchase a gift card, visit bucks.com/gift cards.
This week at Target, get all your holiday shopping done with last-minute deals on must-haves and wants for the season. Discover big deals on toys and tech, plus top deals on clothing, beauty gift sets, and so much more. At Target, find all you need for the holidays. Shop great last-minute deals everyone will love, and get what you need fast with free drive-up. Hurry! Last-minute deals end Sunday. Score low prices and great last-minute deals now at Target. Exclusions apply.
Hi, I can help whoever's
Cooper's overnight shipping company has to deliver the goods.
Ship these gifts to your grandkids.
They need a logistics manager to keep the wheels turning.
126 packages going to Toronto, Tuscaloosa, Montreal, and Minneapolis. Oh boy.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Green Bay Game Night on ESPN Wisconsin and WTMJ.
Matt, would you ever consider an in-season change at coordinator?
Now's not the time for that, to be honest with you.
Why is that?
Because now's not the time. I'm trying to find solutions, and I got to go back and take a look at the film.
Matt LaFleur after the game. Bill Huber, the one asking the question from Sports Illustrated about whether now would be the time, and Matt LaFleur saying no, now is not the time because he's looking for answers. Although that could be that would be an answer, right? The answer could be the guy calling the defensive plays.
Of course, yes.
And if that's the answer, after he watches...
It's the answer.
If that's the answer after watching the film, maybe there is a chance that Joe Barry is let go with 3 games to play.
But he doesn't think that's the answer. After watching the game where he was, you think you need to watch the tape?
Coaches always just want to watch the tape.
That's true, but that's the excuse you use.
I guarantee it's not going to be any better the second time through after he had to live through it.
So, do both of you guys want Joe Barry fired right now?
No, I do not.
Yes. Because
you want him fired right now?
Because I'm scared, Tausch, the longer that we go with him not being fired, the more likely it is that he comes back. So I want him fired as soon as possible, because then that way I know he's not going to be here in 2024. If we get to the end of the season, I still think there's a possibility that Joe Barry's sticking around. I think there's a possibility that Matt LaFleur just you know what? We had some injuries. He could talk himself into keeping Joe Barry around the way he talked himself into Joe Barry sticking around this past offseason.
Yeah, I understand making a big move in season. We've seen it a bunch. Obviously, some teams fire their head coach in season. I would say let's finish this season up. We're sitting here at 6-8. And then I don't want any quick answers Monday after the Bears game, the last game, or if we win 3 and find a way to make the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised listening to Matt LaFleur, and I know this for sure. Head coaches, especially the Green Bay Packers, when you lose at home and you lose in an embarrassing way, like Green Bay did today, that was an embarrassing loss for everybody involved with that defensive side of the ball and really the team. You really analyze, and it hits you even harder than when you go lose on the road. And you have more time, and we saw Mark Murphy fire Mike McCarthy, who won a Super Bowl for him, on probably a similar early December way back in 2018-19, whatever it was. And this sounded like he at least is thinking about it, which we've never heard him say before. Mm-hmm. But from my perspective, I still say, I want you to finish the season up, and then I want you to really evaluate and not just say, let's run it back or something to that effect, which is, in essence, what he did last year. So finish this up, see how this thing finishes, but don't forget about what we just saw. Because I do think, Gabe, if this team gets hot and plays great defense down the stretch and then gets beat in the playoffs, maybe in a tight game, I could see him potentially keeping him. So I don't know if I have a feeling one way or the other what is going to happen, But if I was a betting man, I would say Joe Barry will continue to be the coordinator through the end of the season.
You asked for it, so it's up in the field at ESPN Milwaukee on Twitter. Would you rather lose out and have Joe Barry fired or win out, make the playoffs, but Joe Barry remains the defensive coordinator? Right now, 86% of people saying lose out, Joe Barry gone. Pretty lopsided poll right now.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. I think that emotions always run hot. And emotions have run out. I'm telling you right now, there is no worse job in NFL football as far as criticism goes than being the defensive coordinator. When I'm talking about Packer jobs, the defensive coordinator gets more criticism than the head coach has gotten. That's been that way for years. Since Fritz Schirmer, it's been the defensive coordinator takes more heat than any other coach on this staff. And it's been like that forever. And I don't know why that is, but it is. And in Green Bay, that's just how it's been. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
Well, no, I think that's because the quarterback has been so good. But I think with the quarterback not being as good, that the expectations of the participation of the defense is going to be higher. Don't you think?
Well, this was a year, though, that we were expecting the defense to carry the load. Like, especially early in the year, I remember Mina Kimes last year saying top 5 defense talent, and you add all this defensive talent, 8 first-round picks, 9 first-round picks. And by the way, Van Ness played a decent game. He had a sack and some other stuff. So, Kenny Clark got pushed. I don't know why. I asked the question of you guys, and you wanted me to answer. I still believe that, yes, schematically, this has not been good. But I still think with as many dogs as we're supposed to have.
Well, okay, but do they have dogs, Tausch? Answer me that. Do they have dogs? Because you say they're supposed to.
They have,
so
they have dogs. They have dogs.
Who?
Rashawn Gary. Who? Preston Smith is a dog.
Rashawn Gary. They had 5 sacks today, Tausch. Rashawn Gary, 1 tackle.
Go ahead and look at. He also had a strip sack and the biggest play of the game.
Rashawn Gary
on Green Bay's defense. Did he not? Or that was Kingsley on a.
No, that was Kingsley.
Okay, that was Kingsley. So, all right, I still think Rashawn Gary's really good.
Yeah, I think he's got potential to be really good, but I need more consistency out of him. Like, he's got 9 sacks this year, Tausch. 6 of them, again, not to diminish 3-sack games because they're awesome, and obviously those change games. But I would rather have those sacks spread out rather than having 2 3-sack games and having 9 sacks on the year. Right, because there are games where he just completely, the last 2 games, he has not done anything. He's completely disappeared.
Well, you asked me, who are the dogs on this defense?
Yep.
Rashawn Gary's a dog. I still think we all just assume, hey, he's going to be back to 100%. He's coming off of a major injury.
Sure.
And he's given you a lot. He's not able to still do everything he wants. That's fairly obvious. But he's still giving you what he's got. And I still think Kenny Clark is a disruptor. Where this defense needs to get better is the middle of the field. I think we've been playing with safeties and middle linebackers that are not playmakers. They're not.
Yep.
And we saw that today. I think, the safety position, Jonathan Owens has a good game against Detroit, and everybody is up it and saying, great. But nobody's afraid of going in the middle of the field against us. As far as picking the ball off or making plays.
Wasn't Walker supposed to be that kind of an answer to some degree?
I think Quay still has a ways to go. I don't think they're disappointed with what he's got, but I think he needs to be better, especially in reading things and coverage, because
he messes up too often.
People are RPOing and getting just enough space. How many times today do you see the ball just go over his head, whether it's the tight end or kind of behind his coverage, because he is an aggressive player that's coming down? He's in his second year. So there's a ton. And listen, these are all excuses. But if you're asking me, does this team have personnel that can win? I 100% think they do. I would say this is much more scheme-based and injury-based. When you take a number 1 corner out of the equation, and everybody loves the Ballantyne law firm, but they're not Jair Alexander in his prime. They're paying Jair to be a number 1 shutdown guy. To take away when Godwin starts going off, hey, go shut him down. They don't have that. And when you don't have that, you compound more problems with more problems, and you can't get out of it, and you let Baker Mayfield have a perfect quarterback rating at Lambeau. That's what happens. And that's the part that I think should be the most disappointing. And if you can't, you look at what Minnesota's doing, I really think that needs to be looked at and from Green Bay's perspective and say, why can't that happen to us? We have more talent. They have Danielle Hunter. They have a safety up there that's good player.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say, do the Packers have more talent? I mean, if we're holding a draft of, okay, the Packers defense and the Vikings defense, and you're drafting defense, the top 2 players picked are Minnesota Vikings.
I think if Jair's healthy, do I agree with you on that? No, but it's not a route, and it's like you could pick and choose. But I would say from Green Bay's overall talent standpoint, I think you take Green Bay's overall defensive personnel over what Minnesota has. I would say that.
I guess I'm just not there. I've arrived at a point where I'm with you on Rashawn. I think Rashawn's...
You're kind of Debbie Downer, though, too. And I get it. After a day like today,
it's not even after a day like today. I started wondering this last week, and then you see stuff like Mike Daniels. Again, Daniels tweeting out about, hey, we've had really good guys. How come we can't figure this out? Multiple defensive coordinators, multiple schemes. Is it a culture thing? What's going on? And I look up and down at what they have. And Jair is, when healthy, one of the best corners in the league. We all saw what he did against Justin Jefferson last year. I love Jair. I think he needs to be on this team. But outside of him and like Rashawn Gary, I don't know if they have a true... Those are the 2 field tilters they have. And I look at the other defenses that won championships, the team in 2010, the team in 1996, and they had a lot more field tilters than just 2 guys. Like I would say, I think Kenny Clark's above average, but there are too many times where he disappears.
Okay, so you look back at that 2010 team. You had Charles Woodson.
Yep.
Nick Collins.
Yep.
Okay, where else?
Clay.
BJ. Yeah,
Clay,
there's no doubt
BJ.
that personnel
but then like BJ, because then it was a combination, because then you had BJ, and like Cullen wasn't like a world beater, but he was above average, and that kind of elevated everybody else because you had BJ, and then you had Cullen, and that opened up some things for Howard Green in the middle. Like you had pieces complementing one another. That opened that, and other guys then took care of business. So if Kenny Clark is drawing all these double teams, then other guys in the defensive line need to take care of business, and they don't. Maybe that's it. Maybe they have enough field tilters, and everybody else is below average. I don't know. But to me, it is a scheme thing for sure. But also, like if they bring in another defensive coordinator, I don't know if they have enough dogs for this defense to actually be big-time difference-making and, be able to carry the offense.
What does this defense do this year with Minnesota's defensive coordinator? Where are they at?
They're better.
Yeah, I would say they're better. I don't know if they're...
Hey, if Jimmy Leonard is the defensive coordinator, are they better?
Probably.
Yeah.
Vic Fangio.
Yep.
If Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator, they better.
Too old and lost about it. Yeah, I would say yes. Yeah.
But you could, but couldn't we do the same thing?
That answers your question.
But if they have a Nick Collins type at safety, is the defense better?
Well, no blank.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're kind of asking the same thing.
What's more important? If Jair plays the whole year, does that make him better more than a change in the defensive coordinator that you suggest?
Yeah,
I don't know.
And that's where I'm at. I just don't know. Like, I think Joe Barry needs to go, but at the same time, like, I think they need more play. Like, I would not be shocked if their first-round pick is on a defensive player again. Because I think there are a lot more holes, especially after what we saw today from some of these offensive playmakers. Like, there are things to get excited about on offense. Like, Tucker Kraft having another really good game. Like, yeah, man.
Yeah,
like,
Wicks was great. Reed's great. Yeah, I mean, offensively, this season has gone better than I think we could have hoped as far as how it's building and how it's going. The run game still is not where it needs to be, even with Aaron Jones back. Just no consistency. Mm-hmm. But Jordan Love and the young wideouts, which, by the way, the hugest question marks of the season, the questions have been answered in a positive way. It's been the veteran players that we needed to uplift the rest of this team that have been disappointing. And then it's the scheme and the defense and special teams that have let this group down. And when we're sitting here at 6-6, everything was kind of falling into place. You just kind of assumed everything would continue and go. Well, the defense, which had played okay to good football for a majority of the season, the last 2 weeks has been bad to dismal in whatever order you want to put it. And that's why we're sitting here now with the wild swing of emotion. The pendulum is swinging, and it's back to El Stinko. And I don't know if they can pull themselves out of it, because today was the game that you pull yourself out of. And they didn't do that. They looked worse on defense, and the offense was too inconsistent to overcome a horrific defensive performance. This offense isn't there yet to overcome bad defensive play.
Mm-hmm.
Today was the worst defensive performance
Carolina,
by
then
far.
We're going to be at 7-8, and we're going to have the same question.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, it's going to come down to, can you beat Minnesota up there? Minnesota on their third-string quarterback. The answer is they can. Will they? Not if they play like they did today.
Ring the bell and tip-tap for Green Bay's pro team this football season. Salvation Army salutes bell ringers, and this holiday season, they ask that you donate into the Red Kennels or electronically with tip-tap. Your support helps those in need throughout Wisconsin. Back to the phone lines, your calls on the Botobox Wine Line, 800-990-3776. That is next on Green Bay Game Night.
Stay right here. Green Bay Game Night will be right back on ESPN Wisconsin and WTMJ.
How much does it cost to talk to Gruber Law Offices after a serious crash? It's free. Yes, free. As in, it won't cost you anything to speak with us. Not sure if you have a case? Call our team at Gruber Law Offices today. Your first call and your first consultation are always free. And you'll never pay us a fee until we win your case. If you've been seriously injured, call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Kessler's has the perfect Christmas gifts for under $115.
Number 1, the Time and Eternity Diamond Pendant empowers you to accomplish the impossible together.
Love has a magnificent, magical kind of energy.
Now imagine that energy.
That magical energy of love.
Captured in a pendant for time and eternity.
It's a symbol that says the two of you will always be connected.
Number 2.
This Christmas is your chance to own a moon and back diamond pendant.
A perfect Valentine's heart cupped inside a crescent moon with the engraved message, I love you to the moon and back.
And Kessler's price of just $48 will send you to the moon with joy.
Number 3.
The life we share is an important diamond pendant that speaks of all the wonderful things that exist because the two of you came together.
3 perfect Christmas gifts for under $115.
From one perfect store.
Find the Kessler's Diamonds nearest you.
And see our extended holiday hours
at Kessler'sDiamonds.com.
Come to Fiserv Forum to see the resurgent Wisconsin Badgers on December 28th and 29th in the Quick Trip Holiday Face-Off. See how Coach Hastings has rebuilt the Badgers into a national power. Get your tickets now to see the Badgers battle the Air Force Falcons in primetime on day 1. The excitement continues with perennial power and 3-time national champion Minnesota Duluth playing the Northeastern Huskies in the other semifinal. Don't miss the college hockey action coming to Milwaukee and see who wins the championship on day 2. Get your seats today at Ticketmaster.com.
It's time for the Ortho ASAP Minute from Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin.
Dr. Chris Killian is joining me. Doctor, for people who do need some type of shoulder procedure, what's the benefit to having it done at OAW?
There's a vast array of shoulder issues that different patients can have, depending on what your age is, what your activity level is. So there are things such as unstable shoulders where the shoulder is dislocating, and there's a variety of treatments for that. Very, very common issue as people age are rotator cuff issues or arthritis. So we have pretty set and standard treatments that there is a difference when you come to us, especially, we do all arthroscopic rotator cuff repair surgeries, really advanced shoulder replacement surgeries where we use a navigation system when we perform the shoulder replacement that allows us to more accurately place the components that should hopefully then make them last longer. So we do have some very advanced options that are very unique to our group and allow us to kind of set ourselves apart compared to other people.
The Ortho ASAP Minute is sponsored by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Hey, it's Jason Wildick for Associated Bank. Looking for a bank with home field advantage? You got it. At Associated Bank, we're more than just a bank. We're your neighbors. That's why scoring a Packers checking account is the right play for your pay. And here's the kicker. Your Packers debit card gets you 10% off at the Packers Pro Shop. Join the team today. Open your Packers checking account at AssociatedBank.com/Packers. Associated Bank, the bank of the Packers since 1919. Your money works here. Member FDIC.
Guten Tag! Matt and Katie here from Milwaukee Pretzel Company.
This holiday season, we would love for you to try one of our favorite holiday traditions, the pretzel wreath.
It's a 1-pound braided pretzel ring complete with a pretzel bow.
And each order is made fresh and can be sent anywhere in the country. A great way to share a piece of Milwaukee with the people you love.
We deliver locally, too, so order one for yourself.
Find all of our holiday gift packs at MilwaukeePretzel.com.
And may you have a blessed and delicious holiday season.
Wait, no dad joke?
It's a new clause in my contract.
Wow.
Welcome back to Green Bay Game Night on ESPN Wisconsin and WTMJ.
We see you've got a bunch of good players on defense. Why do you think this hasn't added up, whether it's run defense past weeks, past defense this week?
Again, I'm going to go back and take a look at the tape. I think it's you got to give me time to go back and look at it.
Just this game per se, but the last several.
I'm just going to go back and look at the tape, Bill. Thank you.
Apparently the tape has all the answers for Matt LaFleur. That was something he went to multiple times in his press conference today. It is Green Bay Game Night. Homer, Gabe, and the Packers Hall of Famer Tauscher taking your calls, reacting with you at 800-990-3776. Thank you to Chuck from New Jersey, who's been patiently waiting on the line. Chuck, you're up next on Green Bay Game Night.
Hey, how we doing, guys? First time, long time. I'm actually, yeah, I know, me too. I live on New Jersey. I was at the game last week. I listen to you guys after every game. So that's, so I decided to call in on this one. But Tauscher was saying it earlier. You know what? I think it's a scheme thing. You look at every level of the defense, how many first-round picks have we had that it's, is it not working out or is it the scheme? We don't know yet because all we've had is Joe Barry's scheme for the past couple of years now, since Pettin. So it's, you know what? I mean, I get where LaFleur's coming from as far as trying to cover for what's going on, but at the same time, what else do we have to do now? This has gone on year after year, but especially the past couple of games. I was at the Giants game last week. He's a third-string quarterback, and once that happened, that it opens the door to anything else. Oh, the Packers should win this game. Oh, yeah, they should. Yeah, well, they should, but what happens? We lose. Baker Mayfield had 158 passer rating today. 158.
Don't forget the point 3.
You've got to be kidding me.
Point 3 is very important.
Can't get any higher.
I mean, when you're watching this game and you see everything that's happening, especially I'll start at the Giants game last week, and you guys were kind of alluding to it. He's throwing to receivers, and there's no one around him. Within 5 to 10 yards, there's no one around him. And then it's not like we don't have talent on the defense. We have a lot of talent on the defense, but the scheme is just not there. The scheme doesn't service the kind of players that you have. And I think that, Joe Barry's a good defensive mind, but hey, if the scheme's not there, it's not there for the kind of guys you have. And I'm not going to say wasted because we don't know. We've had so many first-round picks that were used for defense. Our offense is made up of misfit toys, essentially a wide receiver, either undrafted free agents or they're all rookies. And they're doing okay, and they're doing great because LaFleur's a great offensive mind. But you look on defense, top to bottom, we have first-round picks. And Devondre Campbell, for what it's worth, we signed him to an extension for a couple of years, but at one point he was also a free agent. So it wasn't like he was drafted out of the first round and he had all this hype coming out, but, he's been serviceable, but at the same time he's also a little older. And it's just, you look at, like I said, I think Joe Barry's a good coach. I don't think that he's right for the players that we have right now. I wouldn't want him back next year, which makes me sad because, I don't want to root against the Packers.
Why do you think he's a good coach?
Because of the success.
It's a good follow-up. Hey, that's a good follow-up. Very good follow-up.
I don't want. You know what? I get what you guys are saying. I mean, I think that he.
The discussion. Just to interrupt. The discussion isn't if he's a good coach. The discussion is how bad is he? Nobody believes he's the answer. The question is it so bad that you make a change? Are they ever going to?
I do.
They do. We're going to do a poll question, Tausch. Will the Packers ever win a Super Bowl with Joe Barry as defensive coordinator? Can we get 100%?
That's the lopsided poll there.
It would be close to 100%. Yeah.
Okay. Can we put that up?
No, we don't.
I don't think we need to.
I do. I want to see if it gets 100%.
Homer, at this point, you've been around long enough. Nothing's ever going to be 100%.
So before we let you go, do you think that the personnel here is good enough?
From top to bottom, no. And I say that because I think that the front seven I think that the front seven is okay. I think that we have issues at linebacker. I don't know where Jair Alexander is because, you know what, he is – when he's on the field, he does change a defense because when you have lockdown corners, that's a huge help to everybody else. But I think that what we have right now, even if we were to make the playoffs, is still not going to be good enough. Because I do think that, especially a linebacker, I mean, guys, how many callers have called in and said the middle of the field was wide open? Agreed, 100%. Happened last week when I was at the Packers game last week. There is no linebacker play. We're not getting any pressure. There is these sacks that are happening are coverage sacks, and that's great. But at the same time, we're not getting pressure on the quarterback. We're not getting pressure at the line of scrimmage. Look at the Rashad White run that was on 4th and 2. There was no pressure.
Yeah.
Or maybe he wanted it more than we did, which sucks to say, but it is. I mean, we saw it with our own eyes. I think that, if we were to even going into the draft this year, it's we can use the draft. Guys, we've used the draft how many years now? First rounder after first rounder, defense after defense. I mean, you guys said it in the last segment. Mina Kimes thought that we were going to lean on this defense. And I agree because Jordan Love was he was still new to the system. We were still trying to work out the kinks. And here we are. And we have an awful defense yet again. And it's just sickening because even when we had Aaron, it was he was bailing us out of so many different things. And I just don't want to be Jordan Love be put in the same situation. Because he's been making throws over the past couple of weeks, and he made a few of them today where it's guys, this is the guy. Here we go.
Big boy throws. Big boy throws. Yep.
Tausch, that throw to Jaden Reed in the end zone was
big time. Yeah, wow. I saw Wildy. And thanks for the call. I saw Wildy tweet the wow because I was asking Wildy for 2 years, hey, what wow throws are you seeing? Because Homer, I have to give Homer credit, which I loathe to do.
That's tough for you.
This idea of young players seeing their upside, seeing their ceiling when they make great plays. Don't take into account all the bad stuff that they're doing. Take a look at what the great stuff they do and see if they can replicate it because you can grow. Jordan Love has been, I think, better than we all thought. From start to where he's at, he's making the plays. He still has a ways to go. He's not a finished product. He's not as accurate as we need him to be yet. But that throw and where he threw it and the decision he made to not run it, but to make the throw into that small of a space to give him, and then Jaden Reed to slow his feet down and be the pro, that was big time football. I have to go back to this because we've been talking scheme and personnel and Jair. And I think the point where the red flag should have really popped was it 2 years ago that we went up to Minneapolis to start the season?
Yeah, that was last season, yep.
And Jair was basically already complaining and saying that he did not like the system, how they approached it, how they didn't switch stuff, how they didn't let him play man-to-man. And you never want to just dictate to what a player does. But I wonder in the grand scheme of this whole thing, because Jair's been unhappy. There's obviously a lot of friction with him and his head coach, the injury situation. I don't know how all of that works, but you better have buy-in from your top players on what you're running and what Joe Barry wants to do. Matt LaFleur didn't want to do. He made him switch. And he still brought him back last year. 20 hours after one of the most disappointing losses at Lambeau this century. He still brought him back. So, again, all of this Joe Barry slander and all the stuff that people are going, respectfully done, okay, whatever. But you have to remember the context of where we're at and why he's in this position that he is, because Homer just said it, and we don't even need to poll it. Does anybody believe that this defense under Joe Barry's stewardship is going to win anything?
No.
And I think it would be the closest to 100% poll we ever would put up.
800-990-3776. More of your calls coming up next on Green Bay Game Night. But first, Tausch, again, whether it's a drink of celebration, whether it's a drink of frustration, there's always one bottle after the game that you can go to in the bar, open up, that's going to make things a little bit better.
Indeed. And Tito's handmade vodka on game day. Yeah, Pour me in, coach, from a seat in the stands to the best seat on the couch. Root for your favorite team with your favorite team spirit. Stack a spicy Bloody Mary for your warm-up. Salt the rim of a Tito Rita during halftime or during a tough loss. Grab your Tito's. I'm going to put cranberry in mine tonight after I'm done with the show. You guys put whatever you want. Go to Tito'sVodka.com to find those different recipes. Crafted to be savored responsibly.
800-990-3776. That's the Boat Up Box online. Your calls next. Green Bay Game Night.
More Green Bay Game Night coming up on ESPN Wisconsin and WTMJ.
Hear that? It's the sound of a winning December at Potawatomi. Play with your club card December 7th, 14th, and 21st. The more you play, the bigger your share of $400,000 in reindeer rewards. And like a classic Midwest winter, the wins can really pile up. Dash to Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee for your reindeer rewards. $400,000 worth. Learn more at paysbig.com. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
Football fans, tailgating season is here, and if you want to win at tailgating, you need to Boatify your beverage choice. Boaty wine is the ultimate addition to your tailgate party. This premium wine comes in a box, so it fits perfectly in your cooler or trunk, and there's no heavy glass or corkscrew to deal with. One 3-liter Boaty is equivalent to 4 regular bottles of wine, so it's great for sharing. Bring the wine that wins with Wine Critics Boaty. This is how we Boda. Please drink responsibly. Must be 21 or older. Boaty Vineyards, Manteca, California.
Hi, this is Wayne Larrabee, the voice of Green Bay football. You know, fans count on me to make the right call every time, and I can continue to do that thanks to Summit Eye Care of Wisconsin. When my vision began to drift, my eye doctor said Summit Eye Care was the best place to go. Using the latest adjustable implants, the doctors at Summit were able to fine-tune my vision. In fact, my vision is now the best it's ever been. Summit Eye Care was the right call to help me see all the action on game days.
To schedule an appointment at one of their locations, visit summitiwi.com.
At We Energies, we're committed to building a bright, sustainable energy future. We're investing in clean energy projects like solar, wind, and battery storage. As a leader in the decarbonization effort, our goal is to achieve net zero carbon emissions from our generation fleet by 2050. It's part of our plan to provide the affordable, reliable, and clean energy you depend on. Learn more at weenergies.com. We Energies, people you can trust, energy you can depend on. This message was paid for by the stockholders of WEC Energy Group.
Ready to conquer the Midwest's premier winter playground? Then start planning a visit to Granite Peak. With over 200 acres of skiable terrain, Granite Peak has something for everyone, from beginners to seasoned pros, park skiers to mogul fanatics, and everything in between. Soar to new heights on their state-of-the-art chairlifts and warm up in the cozy historic chalet with roaring fireplaces and stunning views. A legendary winter adventure begins at Granite Peak. Don't miss out. Visit skigranitepeak.com to book your winter vacation now and for more information. Granite Peak. Legendary winters, legendary fun.
Brighten up your home, workplace, or event with flowers and trust Welke's Milwaukee Florist to be your local florist. Welke's is family-owned and has delivered beauty for customers and businesses for well over 100 years. Join Welke's Flower subscription so your home is always fresh, or discover the benefits of creating a corporate account and leave the work to them. Welke's Milwaukee Florist has locations in Elm Grove and at 56th and North in Milwaukee. Go to Welke's.com, that's WELKES.com for more info and to place an order.
Don't go through another year with that awful joint pain. Call QC Kinetics right now and make 2024 the year that you are back living normal life again. Hey, this is Brad Nortman. QC Kinetics can give you your life back. They are the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. These all-natural treatments can repair and restore that damaged tissue, giving you pain-free movement again. QC Kinetics has tens of thousands of satisfied patients around the country. People who had knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, who are able to get lasting relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. If you have pain from an old injury or pain associated with arthritis, you need to check this out. The future of medicine is here. Regenerative treatments from QC Kinetics. Make the call now so you can get the most out of 2024. Get back to doing what you love. And don't forget, you can use your HSA and FSA funds. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. Call 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Again, 414-285-3474.
You're listening to Green Bay Game Night on ESPN Wisconsin and WTMJ.
But again, give credit to Tampa. They got some really good players. Baker went out and shredded us, and and it's disappointing, obviously, because we sacked him 5 times, and ultimately that still wasn't enough. And there were some situations where we got them in 3rd and long, they throw a screen, get a first down.
Matt LaFleur after the game. Packers fall to the Buccaneers 34-20, now 6-8 on the season. Green Bay Game Night. Homer Gabe Tauscher with you, 800-990-3776. Let's hit up Mike in Texas, who's been waiting on the line. Mike, you're up next on Green Bay Game Night.
All right. Thanks. I just got to say, this was the worst loss of the season by far. I mean, this loss, last week was a loss because there's a clunker, but I expected them to rebound. And this was, a horrible loss. They lost embarrassingly. And now it feels like that the playoff chances are slim to none. I know it's still 30%, but it just feels that they were way further behind than we thought, the way they were playing before this loss.
What do you mean by that they're way further behind?
Well, I mean, it seemed like that, people were thinking playoffs. People were thinking that, they actually may have been winning a playoff game. And now it feels like that, with the defense and all this, the offense wasn't, great. But it feels like that they got a lot further. They're a lot further behind than what it seemed like,
Yeah.
Like they're not, they're definitely, obviously, people, thinking, and I got caught up thinking that, hey, they actually, we're a lot better than what they are. And this loss shows that they are still young and inexperienced, and they've got a lot more growth.
By the way, I wanted to pass along one thing because this is, it's the Joe Barry Show. I think Jay Glazer, someone told me, he said that Philadelphia has made a change of defensive coordinator. They moved out one guy and replaced him. The first one's going to stay with the team.
Well, they didn't fire him, and he's still the defensive coordinator, but he's not calling the plays. Matt Patricia apparently calling the plays today for Philadelphia.
But they made some change with that. Is that do you think that is even possible?
No,
I don't think no one knows of anybody who would.
No, he'll either be fired or he'll continue to be the defensive coordinator. They're not going to move him around. Have him as a consultant or something.
No, I can't imagine that. It is time to do a little flush it or flesh it here on Green Bay Game Night.
Flush it? We failed multiple times with bad ideas. I didn't know were bad till I realized they didn't work.
Or flesh it.
Yeah, that's one idea. Or we can work as a team.
Brought to you by Gordon Flesh Company. Business technology managed. Taking the worry out of your office equipment and IT needs.
We've flushed out so many defensive takes so far here on Green Bay Game Night that I think we all decided we want to flush Joe Barry. But I want to flesh out a little bit of the offense today because I did get I've got an email here from Dave saying clearly defense lost the game, but the offense is anemic since week 1. Would you agree that no matter the defense, 20 points ain't going to beat anyone? And sure, but I mean, it's for me, it's hard not to be excited about this offense, the way that we've seen players emerge and some of the throws we saw. I mean, between Dontavian Wicks and Tucker Kraft today, for them to have 10 catches for over 150 yards combined, like those guys, it's exciting for the offense. Is it perfect? No. But you see the offense growing, whereas on the defensive side, you just do not see that growth, Tausch.
Anemic since week 1.
Yeah, that's...
did you not watch the Kansas City game or Detroit or what we saw today at some points? Listen, I think today is about Joe Barry and the defense, and it should because it was just a brutal performance. Going back to Mike's point, worst loss of the year? No. Probably the most disappointing but today, offensively, if you're not excited about seeing the development of Jordan Love and the development of Jaden Reed, and as you put it, Kraft, Musgrave was doing some really nice things before he got hurt. Mm-hmm. I'm worried about the run game, but as far as the pass game and the receivers, no, I'm encouraged, not discouraged at all.
Yeah, I can see how you could think that. You look at it, where they are in terms of points scored, and some of the points today they got pretty much from the defense because they started with the ball on the 4-yard line. But that all the other stuff you said is way more important. I don't know how you can't, given the injuries they've had there, just the depth and the number of different players they have that they can use. When we talked about how no veterans, and with no veterans, the wide receiver tight end core looks awesome, right? Isn't that you'd go like, let's go next year. You got all these options. You don't know who's going to be good, and then it's more now about what are you going to do at running back.
And by the way, no Christian Watson again, no A.J. Dillon, like all that stuff. Christian Watson changes a lot about what happens. So these guys are doing a lot of Wicks. You're telling me you're not excited about Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks, their development throughout the season? I can't help you if you're not.
Yeah.
I can't.
And the only concern about Watson is not his ability; it's whether his injury of being hurt.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, nobody was expecting anything out of Dontavian Wicks heading into this season, and he just continues to. Again, to me, put together a lot of impressive games, a lot of impressive catches.
Hurt, right? I don't know what percentage was he at?
I didn't even know he was going to play, and then he's playing. Matter of fact, I don't want to tip anything, but I think he's going to be my dog of the game because I didn't even think he was going to play, and he's finishing runs like he had the angry. Anyone going to get tackled? He was impressive today.
Yes,
really impressive.
Most certainly was. That is Flush It or Flesh It, brought to us by our friends Tauscher at the Gordon Flesh Company.
Indeed, it takes a team just to meet about any goal. That's true on the football field as it is in the office. And you know my favorite number. We've been doing it for 65 years at the Gordon Flesh Company. Visit gflesh.com to learn more.
Back in 2 minutes with more of your phone calls on Green Bay Game Night.
We're back with Green Bay Game Night after this on ESPN Wisconsin and WTMJ.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, a group of doctors I trusted with my knee surgery. The pain was real and options were important. My experience with each doctor was thorough, the appointments were timely, always close and easy access to the building. My mom felt the same way, I know, when she went there for her physical therapy appointments at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. I trusted their surgical team for my knee surgery, and I know they'll take care of you the way they did my mom and me. Make an appointment at orthowisconsin.com.
Hey, this is Gary Ellison for my good friends at the Jewelry Center. It's the only place I go when I'm looking to get some new jewelry. Dean and his team are always friendly and know just what I'm searching for when I stop by. I may not always know what type of jewelry I want, but the professionals there sure do. Plus, if I need repairs on watches or other jewelry, the Jewelry Center does that too. Find the Jewelry Center in Burlington, Brookfield, and Greenfield, or shop their entire collection online, including their popular Lightbox lab-grown diamonds at shoptjc.com.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank, and as a community bank, we sincerely appreciate our customer loyalty. Over nearly 90 years, we've done all we can to return the favor. Great Midwest Bank offers flexible solutions that bigger banks and credit unions simply can't, because our entire team is right here in the community. We love helping our neighbors when we're at work and then catching up over the weekend. Visit us at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
You heard the final whistle. That means the postgame is ready to roll. This is Green Bay Game Night, powered by ESPN Wisconsin. Live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios in downtown Milwaukee, alongside Homer and Packers Hall of Famer Mark Tauscher. Here's Gabe Neitzel.
We've got some dogs of the game to give out. We'll do that in just a little bit. May have to dig for some dogs today after the Packers fall 34-22. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Green Bay now falls to 6-8 on the season. Join the conversation on the Bodabox Wine Line, 800-990-3776, where we find Thomas in Chicago. Thomas, you're up next on Green Bay Game Night.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I know this is the Joe Barry show, and everyone wants to
rip on him. But I think a couple calls I point out. I think we need to look at Matt LaFleur for just enabling this, because I feel like he's just content with, hey, I know this guy, I know what he's doing. But just the whole prevent defense, it's like there's no aggressiveness. No one's off the ball. They just keep doing slants, and he's open in the middle. And going back to the whole Jair Alexander, last year after the Week 1 debacle, I believe Jair said, "Could we please play man-to-man?" And that very next game, I believe, was right before the Lions game. Justin Jefferson had like one catch for 15 yards. So you would think that Joe Burrow would catch on and be like, "Hey, let's play some man-to-man." So I do think it's a scheme, but also it's like, I don't want to bash management, but like, how many 7th round and undrafted free agents do we have playing, and how many people?
Careful on 7th rounders. Careful on 7th rounders.
Some of those 7th rounders really work out, Thomas. 6th rounders too.
No, I told you, but like, you would think like there should be like having like full secondary. I feel like. And like, again, do we hit on some draft picks, but we also have missed like Tucker Kraft. I like him late round, but I feel like we just have too many. Like, I feel like there needs to be like a balance or like more spending and free agency. But I just feel like it's both a scheme and also just playing wise, and that's just the whole thing. I feel like it's more about Joe Barry, but it's like, yes, should he get fired? Probably, but it's like, I mean, you look at the Vikings. They hired Brian Flores out of the whole team in general, and look what he's done with that. So I just feel like it's both management, but also just like maybe not hitting right on draft players and just not hitting right.
Well, if
I don't know, what do you guys think?
LaFleur doesn't want to fire him, doesn't part of it have to be that maybe he doesn't think the player's as Goody does? Where does LaFleur's assessment of the defensive performance affected by what he or Joe Barry think about the talent they have? Do we assume they think the talent is as great as everybody else? I can't believe that.
No, I don't know where they would rank the defensive talent. I know Goody where he ranks it, but that's actually a great question, and that's a question that I'd love for Wildy to ask him. He's not going to give you a straight answer because he's not going to denigrate his players, but I think one of the things, and we've been saying this really, and we brought up Nick Collins' name earlier in the show. I think that safety position has been a struggle spot to have consistent, really good play. Rudy Ford stepped up. He had a couple picks, the Cowboys game a couple years ago. We've seen some splashes where they've been okay, but I really think that's been a part of this defense that's been a monster struggle, and we haven't been able to figure it out. And if you look at teams that have really good defenses, in Minnesota, Harrison Smith was the guy. He's an older player, but I think he's the captain. He leads it. Even though he's older, he still makes plays. I'm guessing, Joe Barry would say, yeah, but look at you have me playing with a bunch of undrafted guys that nobody really even wanted, and they're playing key roles in my secondary. What do you expect me to do? Because you could make that argument.
Douglas and no Jair. Right? I mean, I'm sure they brought that up.
Well, trading Rasul Douglas, I was shocked when it happened, and I know you're going to end up getting a 3rd-round pick for him, but you gave up a 5th. He was one of your best players. He was always a potential dog of the game, and I would say probably was your most impactful player while he was on the team. If he wasn't the top, he was one of the top 3. So when you keep doing that and you just expect the defense to be great, is that fair to Joe Barry? I'm guessing Joe Barry's camp would tell you it's not.
Time to hit it. Let's get to our dog of the game.
We got dog. It's time for the Sit Mean Sit.
Yeah, we got Jimmy.
Dog of the game.
John Money Alexander.
Christian Watson. Will Walker.
He's a dog.
Aaron Jones. Kenny Clark.
Presented by Sit Mean Sit Dog Training in Waukesha and Milwaukee. Visit sitmeansit.com.
Tauscher tipped your hand, but who's your dog of the game?
Well, I thought I threw you guys low-hanging fruit last week. Turns out I didn't, because nobody took it. So I am not making the same mistake twice. I never tip my hand that much, Gabe. I always leave little breadcrumbs. But I don't have the stats in front of me. But Jordan Love's game today was pretty doggone good. And his receivers were good. Their running game wasn't that good. But Jordan Love, I thought, was, for the most part, his stat line was good, and I thought he played good enough for this team.
39 for 284 yards, is that?
Yep, and 2 TDs.
Rating
Or excuse me, 2
111.5.
tutters. Yes.
2 tutters, no picks, right?
Yep, no picks.
When you start looking at all that, that's good enough football to win, and I want to make sure we all understand that when we're examining and criticizing this team, that Jordan Love had another good football game, and yeah, I think his receivers could be dogs. I think there's a lot of other people that could be dogs. But I'm not going to – I wouldn't feel good about it if I didn't say Jordan Love played a good football game, and he is my woof, not a high-pitched woof, dog of the game.
Homer?
It's like a Homer dog of the week. Kingsley and Enigbare, he made the play. He had to recover the fumble, didn't he?
He did. Yep.
Yeah,
he did.
Well, that gave the offense 7 more points, and they didn't get it on the 4th down, but nobody cared because they got the ball right back. And, I'd like to try to figure out a way that you can, maybe somebody does, that you can give credit to the defense for points because they didn't score it, but they all but scored it. It's like I feel like you need a quarterback that fumbles the ball needs to see that as a turnover, but they don't do it. But anyway, so I know I do the worst dog. It's a soprano dog, I've decided. But, he made the play. That's the only hope they had. Only hope defensively was that they were getting pressure and get Baker Mayfield, because if he had time, he was perfect. So Kingsley Enigbare is my soprano dog of the week.
Tausch, you left the low-hanging fruit for me, and I'm going to take it. I'm going to take Dontavian Wicks. 6 catches, 97 yards. And for a guy who said, my ankle is bleeped last week and thought he had the high ankle sprain, for him to fight his way back and be on the field and be as productive as he was, runs after the catch. You mentioned it earlier, Tausch, finishing runs. It was that yak yardage that really helped the Packers offense today as he continues to more and more look like he is going to be a big-time player for the Packers going forward. I've got Dontavian Wicks as my dog.
Yeah, you know what, Gabe? I'm actually voting for you. I should have just stuck with my initial instinct.
You're making
for everybody
Gabe
that
the
knows,
dog of the week. What did he
do? Because I just, Gabe mentioning that his ankle was blanked and all this other stuff, and he played angry today, and he got open. He's just been so. Again, expectations matter. Where you're picked and what your expectations are. And to fight through and play on a short, on a week like he has, short week, you have to just love his effort today. So I don't do this often. I always give myself victories. I'm giving Gabe the win with the dog of the game today.
Hasn't he elevated to the point where he's now the most highly thought of offensive player?
No, Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed, and then Wicks is 2.
Above Wicks?
Well, this is going to be the fun conversation in the offseason. I'm still a Christian Watson believer, but he's got to stay healthy. And I think you're starting to see this receiving core round out and see who's where and where it's going to be. And both of these, Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks, are going to be big parts of whatever it's going to be moving forward.
Tausch, always appreciate it, man. Tough
I'm
one
getting
tonight.
sick of these losses, man.
Yeah.
Hey, just be ready for what you're going to say. Be ready for what you're going to say after they beat Carolina and they're 7-8. Start working on that now.
How big of a win are we talking?
I mean, it's Carolina. Who knows? 14
Carolina.
You beat them by 50. You can only elevate your team to a certain level. Granted, they won today, right? And I've already decided I'm not working if Packers lose. It's a Christmas Eve. I couldn't take that. No.
So
all right, if Bryce Young has a perfect quarterback rating, can we all just say we're not doing the show?
Yes.
We on board?
Yep, on board.
All right, I'll sign up. I'll join that club.
All right. Appreciate you,
guys.
Tausch. Dog of the game brought to you by Sit Mean Sit. If your dog doesn't always listen, or you ask yourself, why don't they listen to what I say? Look no further than Sit Mean Sit. You can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog. Contact Sit Mean Sit Dog Training today in Milwaukee or Waukesha. Schedule a free consultation. Go to sitmeansit.com and check out their Milwaukee and Waukesha pages. More of your calls coming up next. Green Bay Game Night.
We're back with Green Bay Game Night after this on ESPN Wisconsin and WTMJ.
in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, there's an all-new Potawatomi Casino Hotel, where there's a table waiting for you at 12 bars and restaurants, a winning seat at 40 table games or 3,000 slot machines, plus the thrill of bingo, full-service sports betting, and more. Are you ready to spark something new? Light up your senses at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Explore more at paysbig.com.
Ready to conquer the Midwest's premier winter playground? Then start planning a visit to Granite Peak. With over 200 acres of skiable terrain, Granite Peak has something for everyone, from beginners to seasoned pros, park skiers to mogul fanatics, and everything in between. Soar to new heights on their state-of-the-art chairlifts and warm up in the cozy historic chalet with roaring fireplaces and stunning views. A legendary winter adventure begins at Granite Peak. Don't miss out. Visit skigranitepeak.com to book your winter vacation now, and for more information, Granite Peak. Legendary winters, legendary fun.
Adulting in the fall means responsible spiking. For pumpkin spice or whatever your preferred fall drink concoction is, spike it with rum chata. It's a solution for any occasion. Rum chata is the world's finest liqueur featuring premium Caribbean rum combined with vanilla, cinnamon, and the highest quality dairy cream sourced from Wisconsin. Enjoy a smooth shot or a tantalizing spiked beverage with Rum Chata Original. And, backed by popular demand for a limited time, Rum Chata Peppermint Bark. Rum Chata, the superior way to spike and sip responsibly this fall.
Natural gas is a clean, reliable, and convenient source of energy delivered directly to you through underground pipelines. The pipeline system has an excellent safety record, but there are clues that can help you identify a potential hazard. If you smell the strong odor of rotten eggs, hear an unusual hissing sound, or see blowing dirt or debris, it could be a natural gas leak. Leave the area immediately and call We Energies at 800-261-5325.
We Energies. People you can trust. Energy you can depend on.
We're about to tell you what we've chosen to be the 2023 WOW Collection at Kessler's.
And all I can say is wow!
$898 buys her a pair of exotic inside-out diamond hoop earrings. 1 carat total weight of newborn created diamonds.
Inside-out diamond hoops. Wow!
Another $898 buys her a tennis bracelet that will circle her wrist with glittering diamonds.
If you want that 1 carat tennis bracelet but with natural diamonds, it's just $15.98. Wow!
A 1/4 carat diamond cluster pendant dripping with natural diamonds, just $598.
We believe these are the lowest diamond prices we'll see in our lifetime.
4 carats total weight.
Did you say 4 carats?
I did indeed.
It's a wow engagement ring with 2 wedding bands that will fill any room with hot points of light like a disco ball.
4 carats total weight, just $3,998.
Wow!
Find the Kessler's nearest you
and see our extended holiday hours
at KesslersDiamonds.com.
So I have been in the operating room most of my career, watching people have orthopedic surgery, watching people get knees replaced, hips replaced, shoulders fixed, and I knew there had to be a better way.
That's Dr. Daniel Zuckerman, a medical director for QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in non-invasive regenerative treatments for pain relief.
I see so many people who could have been helped before they got to the operating room if only they had known about regenerative medicine.
QC Kinetics, a natural alternative that uses your body's own healing properties to help restore and repair damaged joint tissue, providing long-lasting relief without drugs, surgery, or downtime.
Well, it feels great when I do get to see somebody who we help, who I know I kept out of the operating room. It's amazing how we change people's lives without surgery.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
This is Green Bay Game Night on ESPN Wisconsin and WTMJ.
Post-game injury report presented by Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference. Visit orthowisconsin.com today for info. Packers really kind of came out of this game relatively healthy. The only thing to kind of keep an eye on probably going forward out of this game was Jaden Reed had a toe injury late, did not return. Don't know the severity of that toe injury. Again, that's just going to be something to keep an eye on throughout the course of the week, because that is certainly a position where the Packers have been a bit beat up, which is why, for me, Dontavian Wicks was my dog of the game, be able to fight through that injury. Who knows when Christian Watson's going to be able to come back from the hamstring injury he has. WTMJ and Madison, we say goodbye to you as you get ready for Bucks and the Houston Rockets tonight. Meanwhile, Jason Woolley joins us next on ESPN Milwaukee.
Stay right here. Green Bay Game Night will be right back on ESPN Wisconsin and WTMJ.
For over 4 decades, one name has stood out as a symbol of excellence in automotive sales and service. It's the Boucher Automotive Group, dedicated to providing exceptional experiences to all of our valued customers.
We will help you find the perfect vehicle within your budget while respecting your time.
With 20 convenient locations, we're the one-stop destination for all your automotive needs.
At Boucher, we're your trusted partner on every mile of your journey, riding with you every mile since 1977.
The